a very good afternoon, and we're so excited to be back from after a very not so long break. I am Nowazi Dlamini, don't worry, it's still me, it's just new hair, new week. And as always, I am not alone. I am with Lerato Mabilisa. Lerato, how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm good and I'm feeling good.
We're looking good too.
We are. Hey.
Alright,
how was your week?
My week was amazing. I slept most of the time, as always, since we're staying home and staying safe. So I was at home most of the time. How was yours?
It was fantastic. I was home, the usual.
Yeah. So viewers, we're back. We'll hope that you are ready to do home study again. Lerato, please tell us about today's timetable.
Dear viewer, today's timetable is as follows. We're still learning and it's still jam-packed. So we have Eswatini for the grade 7s from 2 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. And then we have English and Literature for the Form 3 learners from 2:30 p.m. to 3:08 p.m. And then we have additional mathematics for the Form 3s as well from 3:08 p.m. to 3:45 p.m. And then from 3:45 to 4:25 p.m. we have biology. And then the last subject, is religious education from 4:25 to 5 p.m.
Yes, like Lerato said, it is a jam-packed, as always, it's a jam-packed show. So we hope that you viewers are ready. And just a reminder, viewers, we do have our social media platforms. We are live on YouTube and on Facebook. And also to remind you that if you have any questions, feel free to use our WhatsApp number that pops up from time to time.
Yes, and dear viewer, please do not forget that there is a repeat of the show on channel Eswatini from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. So feel free to watch channel Eswatini for the repeat of today's lesson tomorrow.
If you feel like you've missed anything. Well, let's get right on with it. Lerato will be right back with the Eswatini grade 7 teacher, Zinhle Masugu. We'll be right back after this.
When we talk of screening, basically, this is a preventative measure of finding out if there's any problem that may present as a result. So when you screen, you are trying to find out whether it exists or not, the problem. So in our case, the idea of screening is to ensure that everyone does not present with high temperature. So anyone who's presenting with higher temperature than usual is then picked up, and then from then on you'll then be tested to make sure that you have the virus or not. That is the main difference.
Eswatini sibambisene kulwa nekwanza kuligciwane lecorona.
Wash your hands. Scrub them while you're singing the song. Wash. Rub your hands and fingers and the places in between. Using soap and water, make sure that's so clean. Wash your hands. Reach up, you're almost done. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now dry.
Wash your hands for 20 seconds, just like Elmo.
Litiko letempilo kwesixwayisile ngesifo lesivelile kulamalanga i-coronavirus COVID-19 bagcizelela kakhulu ukuhlendeka kwetandla lokumcuka ukuthi itandla tigezwe nawugeza tandla ke bashilo ukuthi tigeze lokunenani ama seconds lam20 ngemanti lagijimako lanesipho lokunye ke lesixwayise ngawo ukuthi latingalweni lingahlala leligciwane ukuthi ngakuthi letingalo nato utiwashe ungashinji itandla kuphela for 20 seconds nalamkhathini ngetandla ugeze nakhona litawufa ligciwane kanjalo. Ngiyacela ma-loyal viewers, geza intandla, nihlale ekhaya, nihlale niphephile, sitayinqobe i-COVID-19. Now, from the moment it was announced that there will be no sporting activities due to the ongoing COVID-19, we all felt that. But imagine how much work you can do in your house just using your chair. It could be anything you have in your house. Take a look at this. From my own chair, I'm able to exercise 30 minutes per day, from biceps to triceps to my abs. But what are you waiting for? It is doable, it is possible. I'm able to do all the work. No matter how much time it will take me, I will stay active. Now, if you're a soccer player, an athlete, a gym instructor, anyone who loves exercising, use this time. It is doable in the house, in your own time. Stay safe. Together, we'll win this war.
Imidlalo yonke imisiwe eveni. Hlala ekhaya utivikele kulesifo iCovid-19. Nokumcoka ukuthi uhlale ekhaya. Sitawudlala imidlalo uhulumende sekazivumile.
Kulesikhathi lapho khona umhlaba ula nemkhuhlane iCoronavirus, uhulumende kwakuleli ucele wona eMaswati ukuthi akahlale ekhaya alandzele timiso nemihambo yenhlangano yemhlaba emhlabeni. Kanike ngabe mbukeli ukuthi ngakala ukuthi uphume uye ekhaya ngoba ke uye emsebentini. Hlala ukufake iface mask. Kanike ngabe kubita ukuthi ukhwehlelela emkhonweni. Sitawubonana mbukeli mayibuya tona temidlalo ngabe sitawulandzela tona tinqumo ta hulumende. Stay home, stay safe.
So lokukhutsatwa kona ukuthi hlale ekhaya uhlanzekile ugeze izandla. Keep fit, stay home.
Ungayi ngaphandle kuyodlala imidlalo.
Hlala ugcoke iface mask.
Asikwemukele mbukeli eluhlelweni lethu lwekufundza usekhaya i-home study. Ligama lami ngingilirato Mabilisa. Kanti-ke kulesikhathi samanje sitawufunza sona Siswati naye Miss Zinhle Masuku. Sikwemukele eluhlelweni make.
Ngiyabonga Lerato.
Unjani namhla?
Ngiyaphila, unjani wena?
Ngiphilile mine. Sifundvo sanamuhla singani?
Sifundvo setfu sanamuhla singekubhalwa kwencwadzi.
Kubhalwa kwencwadzi. Umfundzi ke kulesifundvo sanamuhla ubhekeke ukuthi abe afundzeni masiphela lesifundvo.
Ubhekeke ukuthi akhone kunika tinhlobo tetincwadzi, akhone kunika tingoni letisakhiwo sencwadzi yebungani, akhone kuchaza incwadzi yebungani kanye nekubhala incwadzi yebungani alandzela tinyathelo letingito.
Ngaphandle kokuchitha isikhathi Miss Masuku songaqala kufundzisa.
Ngiyabonga Lerato. Njengoba sekashito Lerato, unathishela wakho, Thishela Zinhle Masuku, welibanga lesikhombisa. Mfundzi singakachubeki nesifundvo, ngitawucela ukuthi ulungise libhuku lakho lekubhala kanye nepen. Bumcoka besifundvo setfu mfundzisa namuhla ukuthi mfundzi kumele ukuthi ukhone kwendlulisa umlayeto ngekubhala incwadzi. Lesifundvo sitawuphenze sekusita ukuthi sikulolonge siphindze sikucije kabanti ngekubhala incwadzi. Mfundzi singakachubeki nesifundvo setfu lesikubhala incwadzi, asikhumbutane ngetindlela tekwendlulisa imilayeto. Indlela yokucala kungaba kukhulumisana nemuntu lofuna kumtshela lokuthi buso nebuso. Ungaphinze mfundzi uthumele umuntu akwendlulisele lo mlayeto. Lenye indlela kungaba kuthumela umlayeto ngamahlale ekhikhini njengekuhambisa iSMS neWhatsApp. Lokunye mfundzi kungaba kuthumela umlayeto ngangqondvomshina, incwadzi yembane pheceleti i-email. Kubhala incwadzi lokungona sitakubuka kulelanga lanamuhla. Mfundzi tincwadzi tehlukene kabili, sinencwadzi yebungani, siphindze sibe nencwadzi yemsebenti. Tsine mfundzi sitawubuka incwadzi yebungani. Lolu hlobo lolu lwencwadzi mfundzi silubhalela bangani betfu kanye netihlobo tetfu. Bantfu lababhalelwa lencwadzi lena mfundzi bangani netihlobo. Lulwimi lolusetjentiswako kulolu hlobo lolu lwencwadzi kuba ngilolukhululekile mfundzi kodwa lube solo lunayo inhlonipho. Tinyenti ke mfundzi tizatfu letingakwenta ukuthi ufune kubhala incwadzi lengilolu hlobo lwencwadzi yebungani. Kungaba kuvusela impilo kuloyo lombhalelako, kungaba kubonga lokutsite la kwendele kona loyo lombhalelako, kungaba kucolisa ngentfo tsite leyendekile. Ungayibhala futhi incwadzi yebungani ulila ngesimo tsite. Ungaphindze uyibhalele kukhutsata kuye ngembuto nje mfundzi kuthi uthi yibhaleleni. Nguleyo naleyo ncwadzi ke kuleti lesengitibalile inelulwimi lwayo lolusetjentiswako. Uma ulila nje mfundzi kunemagama akhona lowasebenzisako. Sibekise nje mfundzi uma ulila ungasho ukuthi alwehlanga lolungehlanga. Lesi sisho mfundzi lesisetjentiswa uma uncestela umuntu ngentfo tsite lemvelele. Uma ubonga mfundzi ungaphindze usho ukuthi ngeswela nemavi ekukhuluma, kusho ukuthi uyayibonga kakhulu leyo ntfo lakwendele yona. Uma ucolisa mfundzi uyasho ukuthi ayidle itishiyele, nobe usho ukuthi sibulala emabhodlela. Lolu hlobo lolu lwencwadzi yebungani ke mfundzi kuze sithi incwadzi yebungani kufanele ukuthi ibe nalesakhiwo lokuba likheli lelihambisana nelusuku. Siphindze sibe nesibingelelo, iphindze ibe nesingeniso, kube ngumtimba, siphetfo kanye nesivaleliso. Ingaba nako konke lokho mfundzi sibese sesithi incwadzi yebungani. Ungakayibhali mfundzi incwadzi yakho kufanele ulandzele tinyatselo letitsite. Uyahlatiya mfundzi umbuto wakho, ukhethe emagama lakhetsekile kulombuto wakho. Mfundzi asesibone nasisibonelo setfu sembuto lesithi esikolweni bamemetelela uvakasho lenitawuba nalo ngenyanga yenhlaba. Bhalela babe wakho losebentela bucala unasekhaya. Umatise ngalolu vakasho uphindze ucele imali. Batsite kuhanjwa mhlaka 22 inhlaba. Mfundzi emagama lakhetsekile kulombuto wetfu ngunanga. Babe emagama lakhetsekile mfundzi kulombuto wetfu ngunanga. Babe lelinye lithi umbikele ngalolu hambo ucele nemali yalolu vakasho. Siphindze mfundzi sibe nalamanye lathi mhlaka 22 inhlaba 2020. Lawa ke mfundzi kulombuto wetfu sithi ngemagama lakhetsekile. Babe usitshela ukuthi ngubani lobhalelwako lencwadzi. Umbikele ngalolu hambo ucele nalemali yingcikithi yalencwadzi. Kusitshela ukuthi ngubani lona lesimbhalelako nekuthi ubhalela kuthini. Mfundzi sesiyaqala siyayibhala incwadzi yetfu. Sicala ngekubhala likheli. Likheli libhalwa emgceni wekucala. Liqaliswa emkhatsini kwelikhasi liye ngesekudla. Emagama onke lakha likheli aqaliswa ngabofeleba. Lokusho ukuthi nje mfundzi uma ulibhala ligama lelisekhelini uyakhumbula kulicalisa ngafeleba ngoba angemabito ngco. Libhalwa liconze endansi. Lokusho ukuthi mfundzi uyabekisa ukuthi kuyaconza lapha ubhala khona. Libito lelidolobha nalo mfundzi silibhala ngafeleba. Ungakhohlwa mfundzi ukuthi leli kheli lesilibhalako kuba likheli lalona lombhalelako. Nasiya sibonelo setfu mfundzi. Hlala endlini Primary School, PO Box 333 Hlangana. Hlala endlini libitwa ngqo ligama lesikolo kungako simbhale ngafeleba. Saphinze sambhala primary ngafeleba na school kanjalo ngafeleba. PO Box naye simbhale ngafeleba ngoba ngemagama lamele emagama athile. P umele post, O amele office. Inhlangano mfundzi ligama leli libitwa ngqo kungako silibhale ngafeleba ekuqaleni. Mfundzi uthi ungalibhala lusuku lwakho ubese likheli lakho ubese weca umuca ube munye ubhale lusuku. Uma ubhala lusuku mfundzi ulubhala ngaphansi kwelikheli licondzane nelikheli. Lubhalwa luphelele lusuku mfundzi, hayi kubhala tinombolo todvwa. Loku nje mfundzi asikwenti lokwekubhala tinombolo todvwa kanje. Ulibhala liphelele lusuku lwakho uthi 13 Mabasa 2020. Lolu suku lolubhalako kuba lusuku lobhale ngalo incwadzi yakho. Tinombolo mfundzi letingaphansi kwa 9 asitibhali siticalisa nga0. Sivele siyibhale inombolo injengoba injalo. Mfundzi uthi ungacedza kubhala lusuku ubese ubhala sibingelelo. Sibingelelo sibhalwa ngesencele madvutane nemuca loshona endansi. Lo muca lobheke endansi ngesencele sibese sibhala sibingelelo. Weca umuca ube munye. Sibingelelo usibhala usicalisa ngafeleba. Sisebenzisa buhlobo bakho nalombhalelako. Uma ubhalela umntali wakho mfundzi uyasho ukuthi babe nobe make ngumntali wakho loyo. Uma ubhalela tihlobo takho kungaba ngumzala, ngaba malumekati, malume, mnaketfu, dzadzewetfu. Uma ubhalela umngani wakho ungabhala uthi mngani wami nobe ubhalela igama lakhe mbamba uthi Thando. Uthi ungasibhala ke mfundzi sibingelelo sakho ubese weca umuca uba munye ubhala singeniso. Singeniso mfundzi siyinzima lemfisha lengephansi kwesibingelelo. Lesingeniso mfundzi kulapho khona imisho yekucala ikhomba buhlobo bakho nalombhalelako. Ikhomba buhlobo lobujulile emkhatsini kwalobhala incwadzi nalombhalelako. Iphinze umusho wekugcina esingenisweni ubhala sizatfu sekubhala incwadzi. Asibone nasisibonelo mfundzi. Ngabonga kakhulu kuphumelela kwakho emcimbini wekugubha lusuku lwami lwekutalwa. Babe, ngicela ungibhadalele imali yaloluvakasho lesitawuba nalo esikolweni. Umusho wekucala mfundzi ukhomba buhlobo emkhatsini walobhala incwadzi nalambhalelako. Ubonga ukuthi waphumelela elusukwini lwakhe lekugubha kutalwa kwakhe. Mfundzi kungaya ngekuthi lona lombhalelako nivama kwenta njani kule misho lena. Nangabe kungumngani wakho ungabhala nesiga lesitsite lenivama kusisho umani kanye nemngani wakho. Uphinze ke mfundzi ubhale sizatfu njengoba ngichazile. Lapha lobhalako ubhalile wathi babe ngicela ungibhadalele imali yeluvakasho lesitawuba nalo esikolweni. Lapha ke mfundzi so uveta sizatfu sekubhala incwadzi. Ngiyethemba Lerato uyayiva indzaba yekubhala singeniso.
Yebo make ngiyaliva. Ngabe ufuna likhefu yini make ukuthi utokhona kunatha kancane inemandi?
Yep.
Okay. Mbukeli sisathatha likhefu sisajika etimakethe sitawubuya sichubeke nesifundo sethu.
When we talk of screening, basically, this is a preventative measure of finding out if there's any problem that may present as a result. So when you screen, you are trying to find out whether it exists or not, the problem. So in our case, the idea of screening is to ensure that everyone does not present with high temperature. So anyone who's presenting with higher temperature than usual is then picked up. And then from then on, you'll then be tested to make sure that you have the virus or not. That is the main difference.
Eswatini sibambisene kulwa nekwanza kuligciwane lecorona.
Wash, washy, wash, washy, wash, wash your hands. Scrub them while you're singing the song. Wash, washy, wash, washy, wash, wash. Rub your hands and fingers and the places in between. Using soap and water, make sure that's so clean. Wash your hands. Reach up, you're almost done. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now dry.
Wash your hands for 20 seconds, just like Elmo. Learn to cough and sneeze with your pal Grover. Step 1. Realize you are about to sneeze. Step 2. Move your elbow towards your nose and mouth. Step 3. Bless you. 1, 2, 3. Remember to cough and sneeze into your arm or elbow, not your hands.
Mbukeli usabukela yona Eswatini TV kanti ke solo sifunza Siswati naye Makezinhle Masuku. Ngicela uchubeke nesifundo sakho mem.
Ngiyabonga mfundzi. Mfundzi sibese singena emtimbeni nase usibhalile singeniso sakho. Umtimba mfundzi ngulapho khona uveta kabanti ingcikithi yencwadzi yakho. Kulapho khona mfundzi sewuphendula imibuto langahle abe nayo lombhalelako. Imibuto lefana nekuthi leni, nini, bobani, yini, kuphi. Lapha ke mfundzi sowuphendula lemibuto lena langahle abe nayo lombhalelako. Nasiphendula umbuto lothileni uveta kabanti sizatfu sekubhala incwadzi. Bobani laba labahambako. Lusuku lokuhanjwa ngalo kunini. Kutawentiwani embili. So usho ukuthi yini. Kuyiwaphi kahle kahle kuphi. Ngumtimba wekucala loyo. Umtimba wesibili kulapho khona sowuveta lokubhekeke kuloyo lombhalelako ukubeke kahle kucace kude atowati ukuthi yini lebhekeke kuye. Sengumtimba wesibili. Umtimba mfundzi uhlukaniswa tinzima. Emtimbeni siphinze sisebenzise timphawu tekubhala. Khumbule mfundzi kusebenzisa timphawu tekubhala bofeleba, khefana, ngci nalokunye. Bofeleba mfundzi sibasebenzisa ekucaleni kwemisho. Uyekele mfundzi lesiga sakho sekuba nemusho munye inzima yonke ungamfaki ngci. Siyamsebenzisa feleba ekucaleni kwemusho siphinze simsebenzise noma sibhala emabito ngco. Emabito ngco mfundzi ukhumbule ukuthi ngemagama ebantfu, emagama etindzawo, emagama emifula, emagama emadolobha nalokunye. Khefana simsebenzise uma sibala tintfo. Ngci uyamsebenzisa ekugcineni kwemusho. Lokunye mfundzi lesibuye sikusebenzise uma sibhala incwadzi sisebenzisa tinongo. Nasikhuluma ngetinongo sikhuluma ngetisho, tinanatelo, emagama lakhethekile esiSwati kanye netenda kuthi. Loku ngilesi kusebenzisa komfundzi uma sibhala umtimba. Tinanatelo mfundzi timcoka kakhulu ngobe tiyasita kakhulu uma ngabe lokhuluma naye udzinga ukuthi ehlise lulaka nobe wendela ukuthi inhlitiyo yakhe ithambe lokucelako. Njengoba yethu incwadi icela sitasebenzisa kakhulu tinanatelo. Nati tibonelo tetinzima mfundzi. Inzima yokuqala le, inzima yesibili lena mfundzi. Inzimeni yokuqala asesiyifunze sithite uphendvula imibuto langahle abe nayo lombhalelako. Lolu vakasho lwekuyofunza kabanti ngebuve betfu. Bathi tebothishela kutawuhamba tsine belibanga lesikhombisa nebelibanga lesitfupha. Lokunye kenhlane khulu lolu hambo lutawuba mhla ka 22 Inhlaba 2020. Bathi te sitawuya kalobamba. Sitawungena emsamo sifunze ngetintfo temdzabu, sitawuya ePhalamende sifunze ngahulumende weMaswati, sitawugcina eMandenga sifunze ngekuma wemuti weSiswati. Mfundzi umusho wekucala uphendvula umbuto lothileni lolu vakasho lwekuyofunza kabanti ngebuve betfu. Lokusho ukuthi kuhanjwelani kuyofunza ngebuve. Bathi te lolu vakasho kutawuhamba bobani, sesiphendvula umbuto lothi bobani, tsine belibanga lesikhombisa nebelibanga lesitfupha. Sesiphendvula umbuto lothi bobani. Nini? Sihamba mhla ka 22 Inhlaba. Kude umuntu lomdzala ate ukhona kuhlela kahle uyamnika lusuku lweluhambo. Kuyiwaphi? Sesiphendvula ukuthi yini kuphi. Kuyiwa galobamba. Yini? Sitawungena emsamo sifunze ngetintfo temdzabu. Sitawuya ePhalamende sifunze ngahulumende. Sitawugcina eMandenga sifunze ngekuma kwemuti weSiswati. Sesiyiphendvulile yonke imibuto yethu, saphinze sawusebenzisa netinanatelo nanguya hlane khulu. Lokusho ukuthi siyambonga lesimbhalelako njengoba sishito ukuthi lulwimi lungilolukhululekile. Saphinze mfundzi sasebenzisa bofeleba nasibhala emabito ngco lokumagama etindzawo naMandenga ePhalamende. Emagama lakhethekile mfundzi akhona nasikhuluma ngetintfo temdzabu ligama lelikhethekile. Inzima yesibili mfundzi sitsite ngilapho khona uveta lokubhekeke kulombhalelako ukubeke kucace. Nanyalo ke mfundzi siyakubona asesikufunze. Ngiyacela babe ukuthi umane ungibhadalele tsinenhlane. Le mali lengemakhulu lamabili yalolu vakasho. Make ungathembisile ukuthi yena utangilungisela umphako. Lolu hambo lutawuba lusito kakhulu esifundweni setfu sesiSwati suku. Ngitsite angikubhalele mina mathupha ngobe nembila yeswela umsila ngekulayetela. Mfundzi siphinze satisebenzisa tinanatelo satibhala ngabobofeleba nanguyanhlane nansuku. Lokubhekekile kulombhalelako sakubeka kwacaca ukuthi ucela akubhadalele imali yalolu vakasho nayo sayibeka yavela ukuthi ingemakhulu lamabili. Mfundzi siphinze sasisebenzisa nesisho lesithi nembila yeswela umsila ngekulayetela kunonga inkhulumo yethu mfundzi. Uthi ke mfundzi ungawubhala umtimba wakho ubese weca umugca ube munye ubhale siphetfo. Esiphetfweni mfundzi ungavusela nobe ukhontise. Nasikhuluma ngekuvusela mfundzi kungalesikhathi lombhalelako umcela ukuthi akuvuselele bobani nabani lothemba ukuthi unabo. Ungagcizelela ngalokufisile. Ungaphinze usho umuvo wakho kuye ngesimo lebe ukhuluma ngaso. Nasi sibonelo sethu sisebenzise kugcizelela ngala kufisile lobhalako. Nome bonsumbulwane bangabonakali. Kodwa ngiyacela thina enhlane umane ungetameli. Sineligama lelikhethekile mfundzi esibonelweni sethu lelithi bonsumbulwane. Bonsumbulwane mfundzi ligama lelikhethekile lelisho imali. Ngako ke uyamcela uyagcizelela ngalokufisile sesiphetfo leso mfundzi. Uthi ungasibhala ke mfundzi siphetfo sakho ubese wendlulela esivalelisweni. Sivaleliso sibhalwa ngaphansi kwesiphetfo uvele wece umugca ube munye. Esivalelisweni uyatichaza ukuthi ungubani, usebenzisa buhlobo bakho naloyo lombhalelako. Ngendansi ubese ubhala libito lakho. Kulolu hlobo lolu asisibhali mfundzi sibongo. Khumbule ukuthi kulolu hlobo lolu asisibhali sibongo sakho ngobe sibhalela tihlobo tetfu nebangani betfu. Sethemba ukuthi bayakwati ukuthi uwakabani. Na usebenzisa buhlobo mfundzi usho ukuthi ngimi umngani wakho nangabe lombhalelako ngumngani wakho, nangabe kungumntali wakho ngimi umfana wakho noma ngimi indvodzakati yakho, ngimi umzala wakho nangabe bowubhalela umzala. Nasi sibonelo sethu mfundzi sithi ngimi indvodzana yakho. Khumbule mfundzi ukuthi lesimbhalelako ngubabe. Ngako ke siyasibhala siseyamise umugca lobheka endasi sisebenzisa buhlobo uthi ngimi indvodzana yakho Musa. Libito lakho ulibhale ngafeleba ngoba libito ngco mfundzi ukhumbule kulibhala ngafeleba. Mfundzi sesisibhalile sivaleliso sethu ngidawucela kukuniketa umsebenzi lotawutendela wona. Lo msebenzi mfundzi wayo incwadi yebungani asesiufunze ngesimo semkhuhlane lomkhulu lokhona. Hulumende uthite wonke umuntu akahlale ekhaya. Bhalela umngani wakho lofunza naye umcele ukuthi umcocele ukuthi sikuphethe njani lesimo nekuthi wendani ngaso. Mfundzi kulombuto wethu asikhethe emagama lakhethekile. Sihlunge emagama lakhethekile mfundzi. Lobhalelwako umngani wakho. Lokusho ukuthi lotambhalela mfundzi ngumngani wakho. Phinze ingcikithi kumcocela ukuthi simo sikuphethe njani nekuthi wendani ngaso. Seyingcikithi yencwadi yakho mfundzi lotayibhala. Mfundzi kulesifundvo sibukete tinhlobo tetincwadzi. Sabuka sakhiwo sencwadzi yebungani. Kubhalwa kwencwadzi yebungani. Lokusho ukuthi mfundzi nase uyibhalile yakho incwadi utayibuka ukuthi inaso yini lesakhiwo sencwadi yebungani lesikhulume ngaso. Sithite iba nelikheli lelihambisana nelusuku, kube sibingelelo, singeniso, umtimba, siphetfo kanye nesivaleliso. Saphinze mfundzi sabuka kubhalwa kwencwadi yebungani. Ayibuka incwadi yakho ukuthi ibhaleke kahle yini njengoba silayetile. Kude umsebenzi wakho ke mfundzi ube muhle. Kumele ukuthi ubhale ngesandla lesihle mfundzi. Ute ukhanga kulo ufundzako ufundzeke. Tibitelo takho kumele tibhaleke kahle. Kube nguletingito. Utinake loko mfundzi ungakwenda ngekuthi uthi ungawubhala umsebenzi wakho uphindze ucale phansi ubuke ufunze ute ubona lapho kubhaleke kabi khona. Lokusho ukuthi tibitelo takho atibe nguletibhaleke kahle kube futhi nguletingito. Ungabhali ke mfundzi ube uqisha uhlikihla lapha ubhale khona. Lele sithi pheceleti i-counseling and overwriting. Lokhu mfundzi kwenda umsebenzi wakho ube mubi ungathandzeki kulo ufundzako. Ngakho ke mfundzi kumele ukuthi usebenzise kubhala kahle. Kumele ukhumbule mfundzi kunaka timphawu tekubhala njengoba ngitigcizelele ukuthi siyamsebenzisa feleba lapha kufanele khona, simsebenzisa ikhefana uma sibala tinfo, siphindze sisebenzise ngci ekugcineni kwemusho. Uphindze mfundzi ufake bofeleba kuto tonke tindzawo letifanele netinongo usebenzise lulwimi lwelisiswati lolungilo. Angati lerato kumbe usiyahamba kanye kanye?
Yebo make besihamba kanye kanye. Bosucedzele ngesifundvo sakho
sengicedzile sisi.
Sijabule kakhulu kuba nawe namhla kuleli hlelo. Futhi sibonga kakhulu ukuthi ube nathi etindlini tethu tekusakada. Sithemba ukuthi utawuphindze ubuye utosifundisa phindze. Ma grade 7 ngethemba ukuthi ni sifokotele sifundvo senu sanamuhla. Lo landzelako ngumlingani wami Nokwazi Dlamini lotabe anipresentela English literature.
When we talk of screening, basically, this is a preventative measure of finding out if there's any problem that may present as a result. So when you screen, you're trying to find out whether it exists or not, the problem. So in our case, the idea of screening is to ensure that everyone does not present with high temperature. So anyone who's presenting with higher temperature than usual is then picked up, and then from then on you'll then be tested to make sure that you have the virus or not. That is the main difference.
Eswatini sibambisene kulwa nekwanza kuligciwane lecorona.
Wash hands now. Wash hands now. Wash hands now. Wash hands now. Hand washing is one of the best ways to keep from getting sick and staying healthy all year long.
Welcome back to our viewers. You are still tuned into Home Study. I am Nokwazi Dlamini, and right now in the studio joining me is the English Literature Form 3 teacher, Samgelsiwe Dlamini. Samgelsiwe, how are you doing this afternoon?
I am well, Nkosi, how are you?
I'm good. We're back from a very long break. How was your break for you?
Oh, it was okay. I really enjoyed spending time with my kids.
Yeah. All right. Cool. It was really, really nice staying home and staying safe. Yeah.
It was. But yeah, duty calls.
Yes, duty calls, most definitely. Could you please tell us about today's lesson? What is it about?
Okay. Thank you, Nkosi. Today we are focusing on a poem, The Woman I Married.
Okay.
So we're continuing from where we left off with our previous lesson, where we were analyzing a poem, A Sudden Storm. So we are taking another poem today, The Woman I Married.
by the end of this lesson, what do you expect your students to have learned?
Okay, by the end of the lesson, I expect that the learners should be able to interpret a title of the poem, because that is where it begins.
Okay.
Also, I expect that they should be able to describe the attitude of the speaker towards his wife.
Okay.
I also expect that they should be able to appreciate the use of language,
All right.
because poems are made out of words.
All
So they
right.
should be able to appreciate the choice of words that the writer has used.
Okay, that sounds really interesting. Form 3s, I hope that you are ready for this lesson. And just to remind you, guys, that we are live on YouTube and on Facebook. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask on our WhatsApp number. Please text us. Do not call us. Samgalsiwe, I'll let you start your lesson.
All right, thank you so much, Nkosi. As already mentioned, my dear learners, we are going to continue with analyzing a poem today. Probably I would love to remind learners that we said when we analyze a poem, we begin by looking at the title of the poem. So we are going to look at the title of the poem, which we have with us, which is in our anthology. So I want to believe that every learner has a copy of the poem The Woman I Married by Edwin Wayaki. So we're going to go through the poem together. I hope we still remember that we said we're going to read the poem more than once. So we are going to go through the poem. I'll read it and then read it again before we get into analyzing it, beginning from the title of the poem. On the side, I've created a glossary to make it much more easier for you guys to understand what is happening in the text. The Woman I Married. The woman I married is an outright bone shaker. For a full decade, she had banged a typewriter, and now in substitution bangs the crockery until my house sounds like a factory. The noise keeps her sane, they say. Okay, we're going to read the poem again. The woman I married is an outright bone shaker. For a full decade, she had banged a typewriter, and now in substitution bangs the crockery until my house sounds like a factory. The noise keeps her sane, they say. Okay? Now, my dear learners, I want us to move a step further to unpacking the title, The Woman I Married. I am sure as we are looking at the title of the text, we can already sense the negative attitude that the speaker has towards this woman that he is talking about. There is no way that we expect that a couple that is so madly in love would be referring to one another as woman. We expect that the speaker should be saying, my wife, my darling, my sweetheart, or any of these other sweet words that we know, or any other pet name that you could think of. I am sure my learners at home can think of some of the pet names that the parents use when they call one another. But here, this woman is called the woman I married. So our interest is aroused because we want to know, why is this woman called the woman I married instead of my wife? Why does the speaker say the woman I married? Okay, so obviously we see a negative image. We create in our minds a negative picture about this woman. We don't expect the man to be saying anything exciting about this person that he has just called a woman. So the choice of words that have been used here arouse the interest in us as learners. We are anxious to find out. So before we even begin reading the poem, we are so excited because we want to find out, what is it that stops this man from calling his wife the person that he spent money on. I want to believe he paid dowry. Probably they threw this lavish wedding, but today he's referring to her as the woman I married. Imagine. Not even honey, or at least Nogwazi's mom. No, but the woman I married. Imagine. So we can pick that sense of resentment, that sense of regret in the speaker's voice. The tone here clearly tells us this man is sick and tired. He has had it with this woman. He is so bitter. His tone says it all. So before we even read the poem, already we know this man is displeased. So he's not likely to appreciate anything that this woman says. So I hope, my dear learners, you get to appreciate why we say we need to begin by analyzing or interpreting the title, so that when we get into reading the poem, we already have some ideas in our mind of what we are likely to see in the poem. Now, I want us to go back to the text and now try to analyze the poem line by line, because we said we don't just stop at the title, but we then get into appreciating the text, unpacking the words that the writer has used. Why has he selected these words, and what message is he trying to drive across? The very first line in our poem, the speaker echoes or repeats the same words he used in the title. He says, "The woman I married," emphasizing how much he doesn't appreciate this woman anymore. He says, this woman is an outright bone shaker. Not a 3/4 bone shaker, not half a bone shaker, but he says outright bone shaker. Meaning, even if someone from South Africa were to come and look at her, you would just tell she's a bone shaker. Whether it's a 3-year-old looking at her, that person would just conclude she is a bone shaker. That is why he says she's an outright bone shaker. More like to give a clear picture, emphasis also to say there's no doubt this woman is a bone shaker. What is a bone shaker? In simple English, we describe a bone shaker as an old, dilapidated vehicle, very uncomfortable, or a bicycle. Very old one, not the latest bicycles that I'm sure some of you learners have with you. I have a picture with me that I'd love to share with you, a picture of what a bone shaker looks like. One of the tires there is huge. I'm sure we can see it. Very, very huge. Then we have this other one that's very small. The question in my mind is, how did he even mount the bicycle? I'm sure you look at the pedals. Actually, when I look at the pedals, I wonder how he's actually going to be in a position to brake up when trouble comes or when he sees an approaching accident. But even the manner in which he sits, we can't really see the seat. We can see he's seated because we see his backside, but there's really no comfortable sitting space. So we can see the picture that he wants us to have in our minds about this woman that he's describing. He doesn't compare his wife to a BMW or Rolls Royce or Lamborghini, whatever latest cars that you guys would be thinking of. He compares his wife to a bone shaker. This should tell us, or this should give us a clear picture of how much he hates this woman, how much he thinks this woman is old, how much he thinks this woman is so noisy, because there's no way you can be driving that bicycle and it is so silent. But I expect you'd be hearing all of those sounds, noisy, very noisy. If it's old, my dad once had a very old car. I used to make sure I request that he drops me off at the gate when I was at primary school. I wouldn't want it to get anywhere near the school premises because of the noise that it made. So imagine how embarrassed this man feels by having such a wife. He is so sad, he is so embarrassed. He doesn't want to hang around such a woman, a bone shaker. I am sure, my dear learners at home, at the back of our minds already we have a picture of how this woman looks like. And now we wonder, why does she behave in such a manner? Why is she such a noisy woman? Okay, I want us to move on now. We have discussed her being an outright bone shaker. So we get to see how unhappy this man is, how uncomfortable he is staying with this woman. We move on to the next line. We are told for a full decade she had banged a typewriter. So we get to see her profession. She was probably a typist. But the writer here says she banged a typewriter. So it's not just the noise that she makes, probably with her bones as she walks, or probably dragging her feet. Everything about her is noisy, even at work. It's more like the husband says, I envy those people who used to work with her now that she no longer works with them, because she was very noisy. So we see how much he hates even the work that the wife used to do. So this clearly describes how much this man does not appreciate anything that the woman does. Who would appreciate something done by a person that they do not like? No matter how good whatever the person is doing, if you don't appreciate the person, there's nothing positive that you actually see. So we also note that it means this wife irritates the husband. She is just too much for the man. Now, since we have been told she used to bang the typewriter, next line we are told, now in substitution, she bangs the crockery. Crockery referring to the utensils that you have in the kitchen, your plates, your dishes, etc., whatever items you have. So the moment she's in the kitchen, you know Nogwazi is in the kitchen because of the noise that she'd probably be making in the kitchen. This again emphasizes how much she is irritating and noisy. She's at work, she's making noise. She's in the house, she's making noise. Where else would she live then without making noise? We get to pity this man actually when we look at the plight that he is faced with. But at the same time, I hope, my dear learners, you can be able to sense how funny it is when we get to listen to this man describe his wife. In as much as no woman would love to be described in the manner in which this woman has been described, but honestly speaking, we can sense the sarcasm here, the humor, the funny nature of the choice of words that the speaker has used. We don't really cry when we read the poem thinking about a woman called a bone shaker, a woman who is said to be banging everything. We don't really get to feel sad, but instead we laugh as we look at this description. So the repetition of the use of the word bang shows us clearly how the man exaggerates or wants to emphasize the effect that is the effect of the noise that this woman makes. Poor man. Moving on, the man says, until my house sounds like a factory. Imagine. He doesn't say until it sounds like a bus rank, but until it sounds like a factory. Those of us who have had an experience of being near a factory can relate to the noise that this lady actually makes. And the fact that we have this indirect comparison here, we can tell that a simile has been used. Unlike in the first few lines where she's been compared to a bone shaker, she's been compared to that directly, which is a metaphor. Here we get to see a simile because it's an indirect comparison. The noise that is made is compared to the noise that we hear in a factory. So you can visualize the large machinery there, the different tools that are used in a factory. So you can tell how loud this woman is. Also, I want us to note that this simile that has been used here also doubles as a hyperbole. I mentioned an example earlier of a bus rank where we normally expect noise or we normally hear noise. It's loud but bearable. But if the man says, until my house sounds like a factory, I'm sure you can see how much he wants us to feel for him or sympathize with him when we imagine the sound, the massiveness of the sound, how deafening the sound is. Also, I want us to also pay attention to the use of the possessive pronoun my house. Again, we get to see this man doesn't really count this woman as his wife, as his partner, as his equal anymore. He is just fed up. It is supposed to be our house, our palace, but he says until my house sounds like a factory. More like she's a stranger now in her very own home. You can imagine how difficult it should be for a man to stay with a very noisy woman. But again, we wonder, why does this woman make so much noise? This tells us she must be bitter. And I don't want to get into the debates today of actually finding out some of the reasons why we think this woman is probably bitter. I leave that to the men to decide. If we're in class, we'd open a debate probably where you have the boys versus girls debating the issues that we see in the poem. Is the woman justified to behave in this manner? Do we really sympathize with the man? Because I don't want to believe that any ordinary person will just wake up in the morning and decide to bang whatever he or she comes across. There must be something eating this woman up. Okay? Now I want us to go to the last two lines of the poem. For me, these last two lines feel more like a justification from the persona. I feel the persona wants our sympathy to some extent. He says, the noise keeps her sane, so they say. More like, I'm not the only one who hears this. I'm not the only one who notices she's such a noisy person, but other people have had an encounter with her noise too. And one thing for sure, they're not pleased maybe, but the noise keeps her sane. In other words, if she were to stop making the noise, she would go crazy. Learners at home, you guys normally talk about your friends, you say they'll go nuts. That's what we'd be saying about this woman here. The man says people around, neighbors probably, people, colleagues maybe at work, they all attest to the fact that if this woman wouldn't be making so much noise, she'd be crazy by now. Again, confirming the issue that I highlighted earlier, that it means there's something troubling this woman. Again, I feel the man wants us to kind of feel that he is faced with some plight. To some extent, he wants us to think he is in trouble. It's more like he says, if something happens, I don't want to be condemned, but instead I want people to sympathize with me because of what I am going through with this woman. Okay? Now, I hope we have enjoyed unpacking, going through the words that the writer has used in the poem. I want to take you guys back a bit to the text itself, the original poem that we read, so that we get to appreciate the text once more. Okay? The woman I married. I want us to refresh our memories so that we have the text in front of us once again before we get into looking at the form of the poem. I hope you notice this is one of the shortest poems that we have in our collection of poems. And I feel this is one of the poems that every learner should know like they know themselves. Remember our first lesson, we said at the end of the day we are going to be examined on this text. Okay. I want us to look at the poem now, look at its structure, so that we'll be able to appreciate the form of the poem as well. Okay. Let us look at the tone. We have already highlighted the fact that the poem is humorous. It is very funny, very funny. When we look at the metaphor that has been used, she's compared to an outright bone shaker. Instead of crying, what do? We laugh. Hence, we say there's humor. Also, I want us to note the use of sarcasm in the text. The man is obviously making fun of his wife, don't you think? No man would be referring to a person that he loves as a woman. No one would be comparing her the way that this woman has been compared to. She's an outright bone shaker. We are told she banged a typewriter. Now she bangs the crockery. And we are told the house sounds like a factory. So we see the sarcasm there. We also see that the man is actually mocking his wife. We wonder if they'll continue staying together. Moving on, let us look at the form of the text. The poem is made up of only 2 stanzas, just 2. The first stanza consists of 7 lines, and the second one just has 2 long lines. I hope you noticed we're talking about lines, not sentences. Okay? All the lines begin with capital letters, and we only have 2 words that are hyphenated. There is no pattern of end-line rhyme in this text, which means there is no musical effect in the poem. We also notice the poem has only 3 sentences. See the contrast between sentences and lines? Lastly, when we look at the form of the poem, we notice that the outward structure is generally dull. So to some extent, we can actually say it foreshadows or it reveals the persona's negative attitude or lack of interest in his wife. Nothing excites him about his partner anymore. When we read poems such as my favorite poem, Blackberry Sweet, we notice the musical effect. The rhyme of the poem is so soothing. The poem, The Passionate Shepherd to His Love, those very exciting poems. More like you'd walk in the street, dance while you recite those poems. I doubt we'd do the same when we read the poem, The Woman I Married, because the speaker wants us to clearly see how displeased he is about his wife, how less interested he is in this woman that he is married to. I hope our analysis of the poem has been clear. And I know that as you are reading the poem, you are also going to be able to identify more issues that I have probably left out in our discussion. But what we are doing here is to basically give a general analysis of the text. Now, before we conclude, I want to take you guys through a question that will require that we use the text to respond to that said question. We are still going to get into more details discussing the different types of questions, but I feel we've had 3, 4, this is the 4th lesson. We should be doing some writing, don't you think? Okay. I have a question with me here that I'd love us to look at. The question says, how has the poet used language to portray the negative attitude of the speaker in the poem, The Woman I Married? I have already underlined the keywords in our question so that we get to see that these are some of the issues that the examiner wants us to pay attention to. When we talk about language, we're talking about the diction, the choice of words that have been used, not necessarily word classes as in verbs or nouns, but we are looking at why has he decided to use the word bang instead of use a typewriter. So we are looking at all of these words that have been used in the poem. We are then going to try to paint a picture. How has the writer successfully used these words to paint, or rather to portray the negative attitude of the speaker in the poem? Do we see a positive attitude? I don't think so. I am going to help you shortly go through a sample response to the question that I have given here. No, Gwazi, can I go ahead?
Yes, you may go ahead.
Okay. I know we already have probably drafted quickly some of the examples that we would use when we respond to this question. The paragraph that I'm going to show, 1 or 2, depending on how much time we have, I believe are going to help learners continue writing their essays on their own at home, because we are saying continue studying while you are at home. Our response here says, the poet portrays the speaker's negative attitude towards his wife through the choice of words he uses when talking to her. By referring to his wife as the woman I married, we see that the persona has fallen out of love. He is not happy or satisfied with his wife. He no longer uses sweet words like sweetheart, honey, amongst others, to refer to his wife. He labels her, I love the word label, he labels her the woman, which shows his negative attitude towards her by demoting her to the status of any other woman, not his special person or wife. I pity this woman who has been degraded. Now, I hope our learners remember at the beginning of our lessons, we spoke about this formula. Yes, we are discussing formulas in literature. Yes, we have formulas also, okay? So we spoke about this formula. We said we can use this formula when we write our essays, where you have your point, you have your example, you have your explanation, then you link them to the points that you've made or the essay question. Now, you are going to notice that we have the first sentence here highlighted in purple. That is our point, because it takes us back to the question. It tells us you are responding to the question, which is talking about what? The negative attitude. And the learner here has gone a step further to tell us how the negative attitude has been shown through the choice of words that have been used. Then this learner has gone a step further now to give us an example. We have our example highlighted in green. Then in blue, we have our explanation as well as our link in the last sentence. Then with our red, we have what we call the personal response. I hope in our next lessons, we are going to get time to actually discuss the structure further. Nogwazi, do we have any questions?
No. Unfortunately, we don't have questions.
Okay.
I feel like your Form 3s actually are enjoying this lesson. They don't have any questions at the moment.
Okay. Can I conclude my lesson?
Yes, please.
All right. I hope, my dear learner, you have been able to look at how we analyze a poem. You've been able to see how exciting it is to interpret the title. You've also been able to identify the different words that have been used, which create all of these negative images in the poem, which make us to say the speaker has negatively portrayed his wife. And we've also been able to appreciate the use of language. We've seen the use of metaphors, a simile. We've also seen the use of hyperbole also in the text. We have seen such beautiful language. The tone has been very exciting. We see the sarcasm, the mocking nature of the text. And I am sure as we continue with our next text, you are going to enjoy unpacking or analyzing and appreciating the different texts that we go through. In our next lesson, we are going to look at how we handle the passage-based question, since we have 3 types of questions in literature. So please make sure you do not miss our next lesson, my dear learner, as we look at how we can practice. I know some of you have a lot of material with you, as we look at how you can use that material which you have effectively or for your benefit as you are preparing yourselves for the exam. Nogwazi.
Thank you very much, Samgelsiwe. That was a very, very interesting literature lesson, and I'm sure the Form 3s actually enjoyed that with you. Thank you so much, and we hope to see you back again for the next lesson.
All right, thank you so much. I enjoyed myself too, and I hope my learners at home enjoyed this lesson too. Can't wait to see you guys again.
All right. Thank you, Samgelsiwe. Up next, Form 3s, do not go anywhere. It's additional mathematics. Lerato Mabilisa is up next with the additional mathematics teacher. We'll be right back.
The basic protective measures against the new coronavirus. Wash your hands frequently and thoroughly with soap and water, or use alcohol-based hand rub. Maintain social distancing. Maintain at least 1 meter distance between yourself and anyone who is coughing or sneezing. Avoid touching eyes, nose, and mouth. Hands touch many surfaces and can pick viruses. Once contaminated, hands can transfer the virus to your eyes, nose, or mouth. From there, the virus can enter your body and make you sick. Practice respiratory hygiene. Make sure you and the people around you follow good respiratory hygiene. This means covering your mouth and nose with your bent elbow or tissue when you cough or sneeze. Dispose the used tissue immediately. If you have fever, cough, and difficulty breathing, seek medical help early. Stay home if you feel unwell. Follow the directions of your local health authority. Stay informed and follow advice given by your healthcare provider.
Learn to cough and sneeze with your pal Grover. Step 1. Realize you are about to sneeze. Step 2. Move your elbow towards your nose and mouth. Step 3. Bless you. 1, 2, 3. Remember to cough and sneeze into your arm or elbow, not your hands.
Litiko letempilo kwesixwayisile ke ngesifo lesivelile kulamalanga i-coronavirus COVID-19 bagcizelela kakhulu ukuhlendeka kwetandla lokumcoka ukuthi itandla digezwe nawugeza tandla ke bashilo ukuthi digeze lokungenani ama seconds la 20 ngemanti lagijimako lanesipho lokunye ke lesixwayise ngawo ukuthi la tingalweni lingahlala leligciwane udzinga ukuthi letingalo nato utiwashe ungashintshe itandla kuphela for 20 seconds nalamkhathi sinetandla ugeze nakhona litawufa ligciwane kanjalo. Ngiyanicela ma-loyal viewers, gezani itandla, nihlale ekhaya, nihlale niphephile, sitayinqobe i-COVID-19.
Now, from the moment it was announced that there will be no sporting activities due to the ongoing COVID-19, we all felt that. But imagine how much work you can do in your house just using your chair. It could be anything you have in your house. Take a look at this. From my own chair, I'm able to exercise 30 minutes per day, from biceps to triceps to my abs. But what are you waiting for? It is doable, it is possible. I'm able to do all the work. No matter how much time it will take me, I will stay active. Now, if you're a soccer player, an athlete, a gym instructor, anyone who loves exercising, use this time. It is doable in the house, in your own time. Stay safe. Together, we'll win this war.
Imidlalo yonke imisiwe eveni. Hlala ekhaya utivikele kulesifo iCovid-19. Lokumcoka ukuthi uhlale ekhaya. Sitawudlala imidlalo uhulumende sekazivumele.
Kulesikhathi lapho khona umhlaba ula nemkhuhlane i-coronavirus, uhulumende kwakuleli ucele wona eMaswati ukuthi akahlale ekhaya alandzele timiso nemihambo yenhlangano yemhlaba emhlabeni. Kanike ngabe mbukeli ukuthi ngakala ukuthi uphume uye ekhaya ngoma ke uye emsebentini. Hlala ukufake i-face mask. Kanike ngabe kubita ukuthi ukhwehlelela emkhonweni. Sitawubonana mbukeli mayibuya tona temidlalo ngabe sitawulandzela tona tinqumo ta hulumende. Stay home, stay safe.
So lokukhutsatwa kona ke ukuthi hlale ekhaya uhlanzekile ugeze tandla.
Keep fit, stay home.
Ungayi ngaphandle kuyodlala imidlalo.
Hlala ugqoke i-face mask.
Good afternoon and welcome to Home Study. You're still tuned in to Eswatini TV and we're on our third subject for the day. We are learning additional mathematics with Mr. Mfundo Gama. Good afternoon and welcome to the show, sir.
Good afternoon, Lerato, and how are you?
I am great. So today's topic is about simplifying algebraic expressions. Am I correct?
Yes, you are right.
Okay, so what would you like the viewer to have learned by the end of the lesson?
Oh, okay, Lerato, at the end of the lesson, I would like that learners at home, so what they are going to learn in today's lesson, they are going to learn how to simplify linear expressions, how to simplify double brackets, how to square an algebraic expression, and also how to factorize by highest common factor, how to factorize difference of two squares, and then after that we are going to discuss how to factorize a quadratic expression.
It seems like it's going to be an interesting lesson indeed, learner. Well, before we continue with our lesson, I forgot to mention our sign language interpreters, Toby Lefagutse and Linda Mamba. Sir, without wasting any time, please take us through.
Okay, thank you. So viewers at home, like we have said, today we'll be discussing on algebra. So we will be looking at simplifying linear expressions. Also we'll be simplifying quadratic expressions. And then after that, we are going to factorize those expressions. So what I would like us to do firstly is the introduction, that what algebra is all about. Because in some other cases you may find that people, they get confused that what is the algebra. So we can say algebra is just a faster mathematics language where we can use letters to represent certain things. So like with me here, I've got a picture where I am showing different animals. So you can just see that the list that I have in these animals, if I can say to you, find what is going to be the total of the animals here. So you can say there is a leopard, that is one leopard, plus one zebra, plus 1 rhino plus 1 elephant, as you can see, and then is 1 buffalo, it's 1 giraffe, is 1 lion, is 1 impala, and then also we can also say there's 1 leopard. So you can just see that this one is too long to write. So that is why with mathematicians, so then we can take this information and represent algebraically by using what is called an algebraic representation. So in algebraic representation, we can represent these animals in form of letters, like to say L is for that is small letter L, it is going to be for leopard, and then small letter Z, that one is for a zebra. So once you have those letters representing the animals, so we can then show that one algebraically by saying it is going to be 1E and then is plus 1Z plus 1L plus 1 R plus 1 G plus 1 I plus 1 capital letter L, and then is 1 B, and then is a plus 1 L. So what you see now here, learners at home, is called an algebraic expression. So where terms they are used to show them the expression. So with the expression that you see, you can see that there are some terms. So some of them they are like terms, and some of them they are unlike terms. So with the like terms, I have 1 L and another 1 L there. So in mathematics, such terms we group them together, and that one is called collecting the like terms. So we can say the same animals they are showing like terms. So where we can say therefore to simplify the expression finally, it is going to be 1E plus 1Z plus 2L, so which must be this L plus this one, so which must give us 2L there. So then it is going to be 1 R plus 1 G plus 1 I, and then is a plus 1 capital letter L, and then is a plus 1 B. So what I would like to bring to your attention here is that the small letter L together with the capital letter L, they are not like terms. Why are they not like terms? They are not like terms just because they are not same letters. So which means with us we can say in mathematics, like terms, they are supposed to be of a same letter. So we have capital letter L, and then is a small letter L. So that is why we cannot group those together. So that is all about what we can say about algebra. So what we are going to simply understand there. So as we understand algebra, we sometimes or we can say we can simplify expressions by removing brackets. So what is to remove brackets as we want to simplify? To remove the brackets, this is a way of showing how terms were in the expression before they were factorized. So that is called simplifying an expression by removing brackets. So I've got an example with me here where we have two expressions. The first one is an expression that is in brackets, so which we can say that one is a factorized expression. So then on the right hand side, I've got an expression where brackets now are being removed. So we can say these two expressions, doesn't matter that one is on brackets, the other one is not on brackets, but we can say those are equivalent expressions. So we have removed the brackets from the first expression and then to the second expression. So removing brackets, we follow certain rules. We follow certain principles so that we can remove the brackets. So I have here where we can say removing linear brackets. So how do you simplify expression by removing linear brackets? So firstly, linear brackets we can say is one pair it's a one pair of brackets. So those are linear brackets. So therefore, to remove linear brackets, we are going to use the following examples which I have here. So we are saying simplify the following expression. So the first one, which is A, it is 4 into 2x plus 1. So 4 into 2x plus 1. So to remove these brackets, we are supposed to understand that the 4 which is outside brackets is going to multiply the brackets. So which means the 4, it is going to multiply all the terms which are inside the brackets. So that property is called a multiplying out property. So therefore, to open them, we can say it is going to be 4 multiplying this 2x, and then it is going to be the same 4 multiplying this positive 5. So as we multiply the 4 times 2x and then the positive 4 times the 5, so we can say 4 times 2x is equals to 8x, and then is plus 4 times positive 5, that one is equals to 20. So now we have removed the brackets in that expression. So there's something here that I want you to note. Since you have talked about like terms, so we can say these are not like terms because they are not of a same letter. So we have 8x and then we have 20. So in the second term there is no x there, so which means the two terms are not expressed or to the same letter. So that is why we can simply leave our answer to be like this. So where we can say it is going to be 8x plus the 20. So which means learners at home, please don't make a mistake of saying 8x plus the 20 is equals to 28x. So since those are not like terms. So with the second example, I have a second example now here where we are going to remove the brackets using a negative 4 which is in front of the brackets. So using the same property, which must be the multiplying out property, we can say the minus 4 is going to multiply the brackets, or we can say the minus 4 is going to multiply the two terms inside the brackets. So minus 4 multiplies 2x, the same minus 4 is going to multiply the 5, the positive 5. So which must be minus 4 times 2x minus 4 times positive 5. So giving us an answer that is minus 4 times the 2x is equals to negative x, and then it's minus 4 times positive 5. That one is going to be equals to minus 20. So why it is minus 20 here? You remember that there is a rule of multiplying signs where we can say a positive value multiplying a positive value, we are supposed to get a positive, and then a negative value multiplying a negative value, we are supposed to get a negative. A negative value, a positive there, and then a negative value multiplying a positive, we are supposed to get a negative value. So that is why in this case here we have said minus 4, which is negative, multiplying the 5, so our answer is equals to the minus 20. So that is how we can work out here. So, and again we can say these are not like terms because the two terms are not of the same letter. So there is a ruling statement that I want to note here with you, which you are supposed to apply whenever you open brackets using a negative value. So what is that? So you are supposed to note that when opening brackets using a negative, as the sign inside the brackets changes. So in this case we can say the positive, this positive 5 changed to negative 20. So that is how we can remove these linear brackets here. So my third example that I have now is example C, where we are having 7x minus 4 into bracket x minus 6. So in this case, what you are supposed to understand is that again it is going to be minus 4 that is going to multiply out, that is going to remove the brackets here. So otherwise 7x, it is going to be our first term. So with that first term 7x, so we are going to use the minus 4 to multiply all the terms inside the brackets. So we are going to say it's minus 4 multiplies positive x, and then the same minus 4 is going to multiply the minus 6. So that one is a Bodimas rule. So where you can say is a bracket opening before you do the division, before you do the multiplication, before you do the addition, and also you do the subtraction. So we are supposed to start by opening the brackets there. So as we open the brackets, so our 7x is going to be our first term. So minus 4 times x is equals to minus 4x. Then is minus 4, that is negative value, multiplying another negative value, that is going to be negative 6. So we are going to get positive 20, positive 24. So there's something that I would like you to note here. It is that 7x and minus 4, they are like terms. So such terms, we do collect them. So it is going to be the 7x minus 4x, which is going to give us 3x, and then it's going to be plus 24. So it seems like Lerato has something to say right here.
Yes, sir. Dear viewer at home, as interesting as the lesson is, I think that you at home, Mr. Gama and myself deserve a water break. Let's take a quick commercial break.
kuligciwane lecorona.
COVID-19 Corona. COVID-19 Corona. COVID-19 Corona. COVID-19 Corona. COVID-19 Corona. COVID-19 Corona. Let's dance together. Fight against Corona. Let's dance together. Join hands. Fight against Corona. COVID-19 Corona. COVID-19 Corona.
My son, let's fight COVID-19 by making a meter away from each other.
Wash your hands with soap and running water frequently to prevent COVID-19.
Avoid touching eyes, nose, mouth, shaking hands to prevent COVID-19.
Are you coughing? Are you sneezing or having headache? Make sure that you quickly go to the hospital.
COVID-19 Corona. COVID-19 Corona. Wash your hands. Scrub them while you sing the song. Wash. Rub your hands and fingers and the places in between. Using soap and water makes your hands so clean. Wash your hands. Reach up, you're almost done. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now dry.
Wash your hands for 20 seconds, just like Elmo.
Welcome back, viewer, and I hope that the break was beneficial to you. Mr. Gama, our viewer at home, or rather your student at home, has a question, and the question is, how do you simplify a linear bracket?
Okay, thank you, Lerato. That's a good question. So which I will simply answer here, since we do have the explanation. So we simplify linear brackets, so which must be one pair of brackets, by using a property where we say is a multiplying out property. So like this example, so as I have said, it is 4 into 2x plus 5. So we say these are linear brackets. So the 4 which is outside the brackets, these 4 outside brackets is going to multiply the 2 terms which are inside the brackets. So that is how we simply remove linear brackets.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Learner at home, I hope you are participating and I hope you understood the explanation from Mr. Gama. Without wasting any time, Mr. Gama, please continue with the lesson.
Okay, thank you, Lerato. So secondly, viewers, I just want us now to discuss a case where you are given double brackets to simplify. So firstly, understand what are double brackets. Double brackets are 2 pairs of brackets that are multiplying each other. So for instance, I have x minus 3 and then it's x plus 4. So those are 2 pairs of brackets and they are multiplying each other. So each time you do have double brackets, you are supposed to understand that double brackets, they represent a factorized quadratic expression. So then to remove such brackets, so we are going to work out differently from removing linear brackets. So we use a rule which is called a distributive property. So a distributive property, this means that each term of the first bracket multiplies the terms of the second expression, or we can simply say each term of first bracket multiplies the second expression. So as you can just see here, so our first bracket, it is having x and minus 3. So it is going to be x multiplying this expression, and then it's going to be minus 3 multiplying the same expression. So that t is going to give us x multiplies this x multiplies x plus 4, and then it's minus 3 multiplies the same x plus 4. So which must be the first bracket, each term of it multiplies all the terms of the second bracket. So as we multiply, it is going to be x times x, giving us the x squared, and then it's x times 4. That one is going to give us 4x, and then now it is going to be minus 3. Remember, now is a negative value, opening the brackets, so it's minus 3 multiplies x, which is going to give us minus 3x, and then it's minus 3 multiplies positive 4. So it's a negative value multiplying a positive value. You remember that we have said there should be a change of a sign there. So it is going to give us minus 12. So that is how we can open these brackets. So in this expression that we have, you are supposed to notice that they are like terms. So they are terms of same letter. So in this case, it is a plus 4x and minus 3x. So therefore, to work out, we can say it is going to be x squared and then plus 4x minus 3x, which is going to give us plus x, and then the minus 12. So that is how we can open these double brackets. So this expression that we have, it is called a quadratic expression. So since I have said such an expression is a factorized quadratic expression, and then if you remove the brackets, we are going to get an expression which is going to be x squared plus x minus minus 12. So let's look at the second example here, where again we want to simplify this quadratic expression. So remove the double brackets. So using the same property, so which is the distributive property, we can say 3x of the first bracket, it is going to multiply 2x minus 5 of the second bracket. It is minus 4 of the first bracket, it is going to multiply 2x minus 5 of the second bracket. So as you multiply 3x times 2x, it is going to give you 6x squared. 3x times 5, that one is going to give us minus 5x. Minus 4 times 2x, that one is going to give us minus 8x squared. Again, it's a negative opening bracket, so we can say minus 4 times the negative 5, so our answer is going to be plus 20. Collecting the items, it is going to be minus 15x together with the minus 8x, so giving us my 6x squared minus 23x plus 20. So which I guess you are now able to remove double brackets. So there is another property which I would like to quickly introduce here, which we can also use to open double brackets. So that property is called a FOIL property to open double brackets. So I understand, or I assume that you can be able to use this property very easily. So the FOIL stands for something, so it must be the F, it means multiply the first terms, so which is going to be 3x multiplies 2x, so our answer, it is going to be 6x squared. And then multiply outside terms. So our outside terms, it is going to be 3x together with the minus 5. So those are outside terms, so which is going to give us minus 15x. So multiply the inside terms now. So inside terms, it is going to be this minus 4 together with this 2x, which is going to give us minus 8x. So then after that is minus, is multiply the last terms. So the last terms for the first expression, minus 4 is the last term, and then for the second expression, minus 5 is the last term. So minus 4 multiplies the minus 5 to give us positive 20. So you collect your like terms there, so your answer becomes 6x squared minus 23x plus 20. So this is the same answer that we have obtained previously when we were using the distributive property, but now we are using a property which is called a FOIL property, which is much easier now to follow in some other cases. So you can choose which one you prefer, using the distributive property or using the FOIL property, but both they are used to remove double brackets. So after removing the double brackets, there are some other cases where you find that an expression is being squared. So that a squared expression, they can say to you, simplify the squared expression. So like we have 2x minus 3x, minus 3y, and then is to the power 2. So this one is called a squared algebraic expression. So how do you remove such brackets? So first thing that you are supposed to understand here is that the power 2 means the brackets are raised to power 2. Therefore, to simplify, we are supposed to remove the square. So we make the brackets to be double, since power 2 means the expression inside multiplies itself 2 times. So having double brackets, it is going to be 2x minus 3y, and then multiplying the same 2x minus 3y. So we have double brackets which we can solve using the property we understood from the previous examples. So it is going to be 2x multiplying the second expression minus 3y multiplying the second expression, giving us 4x squared, and then it's minus 6xy minus 6xy, and then is plus 9y squared. So to simplify again, we can collect like terms and say minus 6xy and minus 6xy. So our final answer, it is going to be 4x squared minus 12xy, and then is plus 9y squared. So that is how we square an expression. So there's a common error that students they normally do when it comes to squaring an expression. You find that they simply square the first term and say the answer is 4x squared, and then square the second term and say the answer is 9y squared. So we don't do that one, learners, at home. So we simply use the distributive property to remove these brackets that we have here. So after being able to remove brackets, so we can bring back the brackets, which must be called the factorization. So factorization is just the reverse of removing brackets. So I have some examples here where we are going to look at or discuss how do you factorize an expression by highest common factor. So we have an expression which is 8x minus 12y. So between the two terms, to factorize by highest common factor, which is the HCF, we are supposed to find what is going to be the highest common factor of the two terms. So which must give us a highest common factor that is going to be 4. So then to factorize, we divide each term by the 4. So it's 8x divided by 4. It is giving us 2x, and then is 12y divided by the same 4, which must give us minus 3y. So after dividing each term by the 4, we can say our factorization, it is going to be the highest common factor multiplying the result, which is going to be the 2x minus the y. So that is how we can factorize here. And you can prove that factorization by reopening the brackets and see that are you going to say get the same original expression that was 8x minus 12y. Lerato?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for today's lesson. Viewer at home, I hope you were participating, and I hope that the lesson was beneficial to you. Up next is my colleague Nogwazi, who is going to be presenting the next Form 5 lessons. Mr. Gama, thank you for being with us, and thank you to you, viewer, for watching, and thank you to our sign language interpreters. Without wasting time, let's take a quick commercial break.
Learn to cough and sneeze with your pal Grover. Step 1. Realize you are about to sneeze. Step 2. Move your elbow towards your nose and mouth. Step 3. Bless you. 1, 2, 3. Remember to cough and sneeze into your arm or elbow, not your hands.
A very warm welcome back to Eswatini TV, and if you have just joined us, we are doing home study, and right at this moment we are doing Form 5 biology, and with me in the studio is Mr. Chi, who is our Form 5 biology teacher. Also joining me in the studio are our sign language interpreters, Zanele Mota and Nombumelelo Hadebe. He insists on me calling him Mr. Chi. So Mr. Chi, how are you doing today?
I'm okay, Nomaz. How are you?
I'm awesome. So today we're doing part 2 of inheritance, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, we are just finishing it up and then continuing with variation and selection, which is still part of inheritance anyway.
All right. Okay. So, what do you expect your learner to have learned by the end of this lesson?
Okay, first of all is the rationale. It's very, very important to highlight on it.
Okay.
It is of very much economic importance to farmers and the government, because you find that certain farmers have got a certain interest on a particular yield on whatever that they are farming.
Okay.
So now, after undergoing this topic, they will be able to understand which whenever I need a certain yield, that will help give me a lot of profit.
Okay.
What are those particular traits that I need to go to look for?
Okay.
It also helps in the understanding of we have a particular disease or bacteria that I can say it is called multi-drug resistant bacteria.
Okay.
This topic helps us understand clearly why is it so much difficult to cure that. You know that we have a big hospital in Moneni here at Kaya Eswatini, which helps trying to cure people who have already been affected by the MDR. So after undergoing this topic, this one will help us understand it, and then it also have it gives us an idea of evolution.
Okay.
We have a very big topic which we refer to as evolution. How did we come about?
How did we come about with evolution? That sounds really interesting. Thank you very much, Mr. G. And from Fives, just to remind you that we are live on Facebook and on YouTube. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask on our WhatsApp number. Just speaking of YouTube, can I just say this comment? Hi guys, I am watching from Paris, France, and I like this TV show. This is from Psycho Krubali. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we hope that you really do enjoy the show. Mr. G, without wasting any time,
I'm teaching someone in France now.
Yes, let's. Yes, you can start your lesson.
Thank you, Nogwazi. Let me rush to the next slide. First of all, we'll just start by objectives. Today, we are expected to first define a variation. We are also expected to talk about that is describing continuous and discontinuous variation. We will describe what we refer to as sickle cell anemia. By the end of this lesson, the learners will be able to understand this. And we'll also explain its incidence in relation to what we call malaria, which has affected a lot of Africans here in the continent. And then we'll be able to distinguish between artificial and natural selection, which is very, very interesting. And then last, what I've talked about when we introduced the topic is that we are going to describe the development of strains of antibiotic resistant bacteria, which is the MDR I touched on when we introduced each other, and then describe the importance of completing a full course of what antibiotic medication. Okay, let us go to the next slide. Okay, learners at home will remember last time when we were here, I left them with a question. I hope they did send you the answers there. I left them with a question on monohybrid inheritance, and then I'm expecting you to tell me the answers if they did send the answers to you. So the question was, a tall plant was crossed with a short plant. So let us underline tall, and then crossed with a short plant. And what is the outcome? The outcome is about half of the offspring were tall. Half of them were tall. That is the offspring. And then half were short. It was known that the allele for tallness is capital letter T, which we refer to it to be dominant. Then the question was, what were the genotypes of the parents? So let us think of it, learners at home. If we are saying the learners, the tall plant, there are two alternatives for tall. We either have a homozygous. I want you to understand, learners at home, the terms that we use in monohybrid inheritance. So TT, that is double dominant T, it means this one, all the kids, the offsprings here, will be tall. And then if it is heterozygous, now also it will give rise to a tall plant. Why? Because the small letter t is recessive. Then it was crossed with a short one. The only alternative that can give us a short one is homozygous recessive. Okay, let us go and manipulate it. Okay, now because the question has said half were tall, half were short, which means we'll go for the recessive on the tall. Let us go to write it here. Okay, let me have my eraser, my pencil. That is my heterozygous. These are the genotypes of the plant. And then I've said this one, for it to show T, to show the shortness, we have to have a recessive TT, small letter T. Okay. And then we go on to do the gametes. Remember, learners at home, we said the gametes are always circled. So we will have our T here, and then we circled, and then our small letter T here, also circled, and then we come to this side, circled. These are the gametes. Please make sure always circle it. Remember meiosis, we said this is how it is formed, by the process of meiosis. Okay, so we will show it going to this one. So let us write it down. This is T and small letter T, capital letter T and small letter T, capital letter T and small letter T. And then the same T must finish all the alternatives on the other side. Let's take this one. It will go to this one. Again, capital letter T with a small letter T. The next alternative, this one, will cross with this one, which is small letter T with small letter T. The last one, this one with this one, small letter T, small letter T. So this is both of them a homozygous T, and they will give rise to a short plant. And then this T will give us tall. As the question has said, half were tall, half were short. I hope my learners at home are able to follow very clearly. This is half tall, half short. Okay, that is the first one. Let's go to the next one. Another interesting one, which now deals with blood groups. A woman with blood group A and a man with blood group B had three children. One child had blood group O. Please note that one, learners at home. We are talking about a woman with blood group what? A, and blood group B. That's the man. And from that, the result is what? One child will have what? Blood group O. Another one will have blood group A. Another one will have blood group B. Then we need to come out with compute now. Give the complete genotype of the parents and phenotype of the offspring. Let's compute that together, learners. Please note blood group O, blood group A, blood group B. Okay, let's compute that together. So for blood group A, we've got two alternatives. We've got alternative IAA. Remember, the I represents the allele blood groups. And then we also have blood group IAIO. For B, the same. We have alternative blood group. We have IB and IB. This will give us blood group B. Also, we can have IBIO. Why? Because the O is always recessive. Let's go back to the question and think of it again. It is saying that we also have a child with blood group O. So looking at our alternatives, it's impossible for us to have blood group O from this alternative, also from this alternative. Hence we go to the heterozygous. Okay, so our genotype will be I hope my handwriting is clear at home, IA, and I-O. That is the best alternative that can give us in one of the offspring the blood group O. Then this side we will have I, B with I-O. Okay, the next level is for us to go with the gametes, which you must remember, learners at home. I always say, please don't forget to circle. Circle your gametes. Circle. You must circle. Nice one. Okay, so now we go to the alternatives. So these are the genotypes that will come out. We will have this one going with this one. So that is going to give us IA with IB. Already you know, learner at home, this is already blood group AB. And then we'll also have this alternative, which is IA. Let me take my rubber. Okay. Which is IA and IO. Let's go to the next alternative. This one is IB with IO. The last one is IO and IO. Hence, we can agree, we can see that our computing is very perfect from the genetic diagram, because here this combination is giving us blood group AB. This one is giving us blood group because there is A and O. A is dominant over blood group O. Hence, we will have only blood group A. And then the same applies with the next one, IBIO. So B is dominant over O, so we will have only blood group B. And then the last one, homozygous. And this is blood group O, which is very, very difficult to get whenever someone needs to be donated with blood group O. Okay, this is what I'm expecting. I've expected my learners to have done at home while we were away the last week. I hope you are marking for yourself at home, learners. Okay, let us go to the next topic that we were supposed to do last time. In life general, we have what we call sex-linked characteristics. Here we are talking about a trait whose gene is found only on the X chromosomes. Generally, here we know commonly in life when we interact, you find people saying, let's go, what color is that? We are asking that from a man. Sometimes people will just conclude and say, men are weaker on that one. They can't distinguish colors. Hence, females are good at that. Let us understand why that occurs. It is true. Men, as we are seated here, it's possible maybe you are not even wearing the black we are wearing today, because as men, we are weaker with the colors, especially the bright colors. Okay, let's go over to it. What is a sex-linked characteristics? That is a trait whose gene is found only where? In the X chromosome. And then now we'll try to understand, reflect back to that. We have said the X chromosomes are only found in females. So now if it is only found in the X chromosomes, that's why men are affected, because men have got XY. Females have got XX, hence the other X will dominate the other. Common example is color blindness, as I've already elaborated on it. This is a condition when one cannot distinguish between some colors, especially the blue-green colors. The faulty color blindness gene only has to appear where, as I've said in the first bullet, it has to appear only on the X chromosome. Okay, let's remember, males have got what? Only one X chromosome. Yet females have got only two. Okay, I hope people are following. Let's continue. For a female to be what? Colorblind. Hey, it calls for a lot of combinations there to occur. Otherwise, that's why they are always nearly perfect. So it must be present in both what? The X chromosomes. As I've already said that it always occurs on the X chromosome. So if a woman has only one colorblind gene, that is this nice example here, XC, she is known to be what? A carrier. She has the colorblind gene in her, but it is not affecting her. As it is denoted here. Here it is here. It is there, but because of the presence of these X, it is overshadowed. Okay. So if she gives the X chromosome now with some faulty gene to her what? To her son. Remember, a son has got Y. You cannot be a son if it is XX, that is always a female. So now we will have XC with Y. Hence now the son will be color blind. Okay, because of the presence of this on the X chromosome. A colorblind boy, male, cannot receive a colorblind gene from his father, even if the father is colorblind. Okay, because the father, for the child to be a boy, the father must give away the Y. I hope there are questions there. Can you check for me, Nogwazi?
Can I just disturb you? No, there are no questions. Can I say?
Okay.
I think we deserve a break, me and you, and maybe the viewer back home. Maybe let's take a water break just to quench our thirst, and we'll be back after 2 minutes.
Thank you. You deserve a nice break.
Viewers, can we take a little bit of a break? We'll be right back.
Bonana, buyena nigeze tandla sitokudla.
Okay, Mage. Thabo sebenzisa insimi. Angeke usebenzise amantopho. Tandla tamitide umhlaba musinolwazi. Kuthi tandla takho tide umhlaba kusho ukuthi akukangcola. Kumele tandla sitigeze njalo ngensipho nemanti lahamba ngesikhathi lesingaka 20 seconds njengoba wasifundisa teacher. Khona kutowesuka kungcola nemagciwane labangakugula.
Thabo, lalela sisi wakho phela Shiva. Kumqoka ukuthi tandla utigeze ngensipho kanye nemanti lahlobile esikhathi lesingaka 20 seconds. Mawutokudla, mawuqeda kusebenzisa umthoyi, mawuqeda kuthinza tilwane. Noma mawuqeda kushintsha linabukeni. Kumele futhi sihlande imithoyi netindzawo lesikude ngalokubulala emagciwane.
Sekusikhathi segeza tandla, geza tandla, geza tandla emagciwane akana-chance, geza tandla manje. Thele manje ufake insipho, yonke indzawo, bese uyakata ngemanti, bese uyatisula.
Sanibonani.
Sawubuyile baba.
Idzaba ndingethelwa nguVictor Slow. Lo mhla sidawuva kabanti ngesifo se-COVID-19. I-COVID-19 sifo lesibangwa ligciwane le-corona. Lesifo sendluliseka ngekuthi emathe laphuma emlonyeni walonaso nakakhohlela noma akhuluma aweletha intfweni leti kuleyo ndzawo. Bese loyo longanaso uthinta leto tintfo ngetandla aphindza athinze emehlo, impumulo noma umlomo. Tindlela ke tekunciphisa amathuba ekuthi uthole lesifo se-COVID-19 noma ekusanzisa. Ungalandzela nathi nyathelo. Geza tandla ngensipho nemanti lahlobile noma usebenzise isanitizer. Thimula noma ukhwehlelele ngekhathi kwengcoza loyigobile noma usebenzise liphepha lekufinya. Lelo phepha ubese ulilahla emgqonyeni. Gwema kuthinza emehlo, impumulo nemlomo ngetandla longakatigezi. Gcina sikhala lesinganga 1 meter emkhatsini wakho nalabanye bantfu. Natha njalo emanti lahlobile utawugcina umtimba wakho ungiloshukumako. Mawutiva ngathi awusiye lophilile, kumbe uyakhohlela, uyashisa, noma uphefumula kalukhuni, shayela inombolo lethi 977. Khumbula, hlala uphephile, hlala ekhaya.
Ngiyethemba niyeva ukuthi basicwayisa bathini boShiba. Kumqoka kakhulu ukuthi silandzele tonke letinyathelo ukuze singatholi futhi singasanzisi lesifo seCovid-19. Futhi kumele sihlale ekhaya ukuze siphephe, niyeva kambe?
Yebo babe.
Welcome back to our viewers and our lovely Form 5s. You are still tuned into Eswatini TV, and this is Home Study, still with Nogwazi Hlamini and Mr. G. Mr. G, just before you continue with your lesson, one of your students is saying that, can you please repeat the definition of sex-linked characters?
Thank you, Nogwazi. I'm happy the learners at home are following it. The definition is clear. Let's try to follow it. Sex-linked, which means this is a character that only exists on a particular sex. So it's a trait whose gene is found only on the X chromosome. Hence, it sometimes mostly affects the males. It is a trait whose gene is found only on the X chromosome.
All right, I hope the learner was answered right there. Mr. G, we'll let you carry on with your lesson.
Yes, I'm so happy today. I'm teaching even in France, England, all over the world. Let's continue. Yes, we were explaining a colorblind boy that a colorblind boy cannot receive a colorblind gene from his father. Reason being, for a male to be a male, the father must give away an X chromosome, a Y chromosome. The reason is because only an X chromosome will be donated to his daughters. A colorblind daughter therefore must have a father. For the daughter to be colorblind, the father must donate the X chromosome with the colorblind trait. So therefore they must have a father who's colorblind and a mother who is what? A carrier, meaning the mother has got the colorblind trait on her, but because of the presence of the other X, it cannot be seen. Hence the father is like this, XC and XY. And this, when these two mate, it's obvious that the end result will be the X, this one, and this one. Hence the daughter now will be color blind. If a father is not color blind, a carrier daughter won't be color blind. Okay, I hope my learners at home, Eswatini, and even overseas, as we have already seen that even overseas they are following. Okay, colorblind man and a carrier woman. Let's go on and compute this using the genetic diagram as I've done it before. When we are talking about the phenotypes, we are saying now physically the man is colorblind, the woman is a carrier. This is the phenotype physically, as we did explain last time, the definition of phenotype. Now, what are the genotypes, the genetic makeup? If that particular male is colorblind, that is obvious, as we've already explained. This means the X has got the C there. Okay? Then, for this female woman to be a carrier, she will only have it here, the C. Okay, let's continue. Now we go to our gametes, which we have said you circle them as you can see them. They are already circled there. You circle them, spare them apart so that they can be clear. So you can see XC. We can see our XC here and XC here. Obvious, this daughter now, remember we've said colorblind mostly occurs in males. But now we can notice the difference here. This offspring here is a female and both have got the colorblind trait. Hence, this child will be colorblind. But if it happens that still it is a female, but only this X is affected, then that child will be normal. But yes, we agree she is normal, but she is a carrier. Okay, meaning she has the trait, but it doesn't affect her. And then for the male, there is the X there. It overshadows this Y. Hence, that child will be blind. From this genetic diagram, we can also have an alternative of a normal child. Okay, thank you. Let's go to the next interesting topic, subtopic, which we refer to as variation. The word on its own vari means different. I'm sorry to use Eswatini English channel here. Okay, variation. These are observable differences within species. We have two types of variation, that is continuous and discontinuous. Please note, continuous and discontinuous, which means we have a variation which might continue in the generation. We have a variation that completely doesn't continue. So let's start with the first one, which is continuous variation. This is a range of differences, small one, between organisms. They are different. We can spot the differences, but they are small. And this is influenced by what? It is influenced. What is causing it? It is influenced by both. Please remember that one. By both the genotype, the genetic makeup, and the environment. Let's have examples. With a particular female family, we can see that the whole family, maybe we can use height. We can see from just by the height that, oh, this child is from that family, which means it is continuous. The next child will be tall. The next one will be tall. Even weight, maybe they are big, they are a little bit big. Even length of tail, if we are talking about maybe a dog or whatsoever. Even hair color. This is continuous because even the next child will have the same color as the parents. So it is continuous in the generation. Even intelligence. We can usually say, the child of a professor at Uniswa, he's also at Uniswa too, which means it is also inherited. It is a continuous variation. It continues. Now, let's go to the second one. Discontinuous variation. Discontinuous variation. This, we are talking about the distinct differences between organisms. There is no gradual change between the two extremes. You can either be one or the other. Let me repeat. We are talking about distinct differences between organisms. There is no gradual change between the two extremes. What determines it? It is determined by only the genotype. It cannot be influenced by the environment. We cannot say you have given birth to a female because it was hot or because it was during winter. No. It is not influenced by the environment. Examples are blood groups. So you are either blood group A or blood group B. There is no half. There is no intermediate. Also sex. You are either what? A male or a female. There is no intermediate. Let's go to the next one. Mutation. Very interesting also this one. I hope at home you have already tried to understand what is going on with this coronavirus. To us as scientists, we believe there has been a mutation that has taken place. It has mutated. Hence, scientists are still trying to find out how is it genetically formed. What is mutation? It is a spontaneous, haphazardly, meaning it happens anyhow. It is a spontaneous change of a gene or a chromosome. The chromosome was normal or the gene was normal, but spontaneously it changed. So the way in which new alleles are formed leading to variation, that is mutation. It can be useful to the organism that mutates. That is mutation. It can either be useful or disadvantageous. Let us think of it when it is useful. So mutant might have information on how to make a new protein, that is the nutrient, that could help the organism survive. As here in our country, Eswatini, we have what we refer to as an MDR TB center in Moneni. The MDR multi-drug resistant TB, that is a bacteria. It has undergone mutation here. All along it was cured easily. You are taking a certain medication, antibiotics, and then it is okay. But now, you have to take a lot of drugs. That's why the name itself is saying multi-drug resistant. So mutation is likely to be passed on to the next generation. Sometimes it can be harmful to that organism that has undergone mutation. So in this example here, it is beneficial with the MDR because you are trying to cure it, but it is incurable. But sometimes it can be not advantageous. Organism is unlikely to survive if the mutation is disadvantageous to it. The mutation will not therefore be passed to the next generation. Yet if it is advantageous, it will be able to be passed on to the next generation. Why? Because that particular living organism is going to be living and keep on having it to the next one. Only mutations that occur in the eggs or sperm that can be passed from generation to generation. Okay. Let's have examples now of mutation. We have what we refer to as Down syndrome. This occurs when meiosis, which is a type of cell division, fails to spread chromosomes evenly between ova. This will result to what? A very, very unfamiliar situation. This will result in one of what? Of the ova having 24 chromosomes instead of 23. Remember, we said meiosis is the halving of the chromosomes. But in this instance, it is now not happening. During fertilization now, the zygote will inherit how many? Instead of having 46, it will have 47 chromosomes instead of 46. Because the egg failed to separate. A child with Down syndrome might have the following characteristics. We can see the child will have a flat face, slanted eyes, small ears, protruding tongue. That is an example of mutation. What about the next one? Sickle cell anemia, very interesting one. An inherited disease affecting what? Hemoglobin. We know the function of hemoglobin. It is found in the red blood cells and it helps in the transportation of oxygen. Now, we have a situation which we refer to as sickle cell anemia. This is going to alter the shape of red blood cells, making them sickle-shaped. This will result in severe anemia. What is anemia? It is a condition in which the body has short supply of oxygen. We know coronavirus, once it attacks our lungs, it makes us lack oxygen. So now also sickle cell anemia, having a deformed hemoglobin, failing to transport enough oxygen. So due to the deformed sickle cell red blood cells, the oxygen carrying capacity of the red blood cells will be reduced. Okay? As my time is fast, let us rush to a very, very interesting scenario about sickle cell anemia with its incidence to malaria. Remember, sickle cell, I've said you are sick. But now, there's a situation whereby malaria cannot affect a sickle cell someone. Why is it so? Let us talk about it. Okay? Malaria is caused by a Plasmodium parasite. It reproduces in a normal red blood cell. Please note that it reproduces where? In a normal red blood cell, not a sickle-shaped cell. So it cannot penetrate a sickle cell. So people with sickle-shaped cells cannot be affected by malaria. I hope learners at home, you are noting this one, because at the end of the day, during the examination, such questions carry a lot of marks for you to explain it clearly. So when the plasmodium enters sickle-shaped cells, the cell will sickle and die. Plasmodium in the process will be killed. People heterozygous for sickle cell, heterozygous, remember, are more likely to survive in areas with high prevalence of what? Malaria. Individuals who are homozygous for sickle cell trait die of anemia. Remember, these people are okay, but because of this, they are affected. Causes of mutations, I'm summarizing now. The rate of mutation can be increased by factors such as ionization, radiation. We know when you go to hospitals, please learners, you must observe. There are certain signs that are written there. No pregnant woman is allowed next to this area. Why? Because of the ionization radiation, which might affect the cells inside the growing embryo. So also chemicals, which we can refer to pesticides and tars. I'm rushing now because of time, otherwise I was going to explain a little bit more there. Variation and competition. Organisms in an environment compete, they fight. When you're having plants grown, clustered together, they will fight for the nutrients in the soil. So that is variation and competition. They are competing for those resources in the soil. So variation makes organisms with certain traits to outcompete those that are less adapted to survive in the environment. Organisms that are better suited now will survive and pass on. They will reproduce and pass on the genes to the next generation. Yet the less adapted one will fail to survive and fail to pass on the genes. We have what we refer to, lastly, my last two slides, what we refer to as selection. I hope I can still finish up, Nogwazi.
I hope so.
Let me try, okay? Selection, I'm sorry that I'm rushing now. What is selection? Is the preferential survival and reproduction or preferential elimination, please note elimination and reproduction, of individuals with certain genotypes. We have two types, natural and artificial. Natural, nature itself, just choose a particular living organisms, okay? That is natural selection. The passing on of what? Genes by the best adapted, which man, this one is the one that was left living there. So it will pass on those genes. The selection of only the best adapted organisms for survival and reproduction, passing their genes to the next generation. This is due to natural factors such as what? Predators. Maybe this one was being predated by a lion and it was able to run away from it, and then it will survive for a long time. Or it was completely devoured and it is no more there. Okay, so that is why we are talking about poorly adapted ones are less likely to survive and reproduce. Hence, they will be eliminated. Again, selection will result into what we refer to as evolution, new individuals coming into being. Artificial selection, the breeding of organisms with desirable characteristics for the interest of what? Increase yield and quality. Hence, if you are a farmer selling those particular products, you will result in big profits. For example, let's go to milk production in cows. A farmer will go straight for a cow producing the best yield for good quality milk. That will be mated with a bull producing excellent yields. Then the offspring also will have good quality milk. Okay, my time is up, learners at home. The next topic was a very interesting one too, antibiotic resistant bacteria, but at least I'm happy that I've covered a little bit about it in the introduction and in the course. It is exactly what is happening now currently. Yeah, I'm only left with 2 slides. I'm sorry for not finishing today. It is because all subjects must be taught here. Thank you Nowazi, for having me here.
Thank you so much, Mr. G, for being with us, and we hope to see you next time for another very interesting biology lesson, because this was a very interesting one.
Thank you very much.
All right. From Fives, I hope you enjoyed that biology lesson as much as I did. Up next is Thulisile Vilagati with religious education. I'll be back with her just now. We'll be right back.
The basic protective measures against the new coronavirus. Wash your hands frequently and thoroughly with soap and water, or use alcohol-based hand rub. Maintain social distancing. Maintain at least 1 meter distance between yourself and anyone who is coughing or sneezing. Avoid touching eyes, nose, and mouth. Hands touch many surfaces and can pick viruses. Once contaminated, hands can transfer the virus to your eyes, nose, or mouth. From there, the virus can enter your body and make you sick. Practice respiratory hygiene. Make sure you and the people around you follow good respiratory hygiene. This means covering your mouth and nose with your bent elbow or tissue when you cough or sneeze. Dispose the used tissue immediately. If you have fever, cough, and difficulty breathing, seek medical help early. Stay home if you feel unwell. Follow the directions of your local health authority. Stay informed and follow advice given by your healthcare provider.
Hi viewers at home, my name is Professor Shabang. I am the presenter for your favorite health program, Better Health, Better Life. Thank you viewers at home for the calls and the messages, and thank you Eswatini TV for the great platform. Better Health, Better Life Season 4 is coming bigger and better. And now you have a chance to participate by sending a video of your view prior to the next program. On that note, we are appealing to all Eswatini, please stay at home, stop the spread so that we can save lives.
Wash your hands. Scrub them while you sing this song. Wash. Rub your hands and fingers and the places in between. Using soap and water, make sure that's so clean. Wash your hands. Reach up, you're almost done. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now dry.
Wash your hands for 20 seconds, just like Elmo.
Welcome back, viewers. You are still tuned in to Eswatini TV. I am Nogwazi Dlamini, and this is Home Study. Joining me right now is the Form 5 religious education teacher at Thulisile Vilagati. They call her Miss TV. Also joining us in the studio are our sign language interpreters, Zanele Mota and Linda Mamba. Thulisile, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Nogwazi. How are you doing?
I'm good. Noma, you prefer Miss TV?
Yes.
Okay, Miss TV. Miss TV, what are we learning about today in religious education, and what do you expect your learner to have learned by the end of this lesson?
Okay, good afternoon, learners at home, and a warm welcome to today's religious education lesson. The topic for the day is the birth of the church. And we have 2 subtopics under this topic. We have the outpouring of the Holy Spirit, and we have Peter's first sermon.
Okay.
Yes, and it's found in Acts chapter 2, verse 1 to 41.
All right.
So my learners, make sure that you gather your learning resources for the lesson. You need your RSV Bible. You need your religious education learner's book for senior secondary, pages 124 to 125. Okay. You'll also need your notebook and your pen.
All right. Okay. So that's what we need for this lesson.
Yes.
All right. From fives, I hope that you are ready for today's lesson. And just to remind you that we are live on YouTube and on Facebook. And if you have any questions, feel free to send through your questions on our WhatsApp number. And just to say, if there's anything that you missed on today's lesson, feel free to go to our YouTube page, which is Eswatini TV. Search Home Study, and you will find our previous episodes. Also, catch other repeats on channel Emaswati from 9 a.m. until 12 noon. Ms. Vilagati, I think you can start your lesson now.
Thank you, Nogwazi. As I've already said, my dear Lena, the lesson is on the events of the Pentecost, or the birth of the church. Here are the lesson objectives. By the end of the lesson, we expect you, my dear Lena, to be able to relate the outpouring of the Holy Spirit during Pentecost. The outpouring of the Holy Spirit during Pentecost. I hope you are now familiar with the command word relate. You should also explain the meaning of the symbolism used in the story. There are certain symbols that you'll find in the story of the outpouring of the Holy Spirit. You should also explain the significance of the outpouring of the Holy Spirit. You should also be able to outline Peter's first sermon. Take note, Peter's first sermon. You should also be able to explain the impact of Peter's first sermon to the growth of the church. Also, you should also be able to explain the lessons drawn from the outpouring of the Holy Spirit, as well as Peter's sermon. And then lastly, you should be able to analyze the character of Peter and that of the audience. Okay, then my dear Lena, just before we get to the lesson of the day, I'd just like to just take a brief recap on last lesson's assignment. You were given an assignment where you were supposed to argue whether you think Christians today still have the same characteristics of the early church. Let us just go through the expected responses so that you are guided as you continue with other assignments as well. So these are the expected responses, my dear Lena. Remember, this is an evaluation question. So since it's an evaluation question, we must first see your stand. So this is the stand where you are going to say, because the question asked you, do you think? So you are going to say, yes, I think. And then you bring back what we call the statement of the obvious. This is the statement taken from the question. So yes, I think Christians still have the characteristics of the early church. And then you argue, you support your argument, you develop an argument. So I have these points with me that you are going to use, my dear Lena. But remember, these are just points. You develop an argument. So you can support by saying, yes, because sharing is still done among Christians today. We have Christian charity organizations. You give examples. Preaching of the gospel is also done. You give examples. Preaching through media, preaching through public places, schools, hospitals, prisons. You can also support, just like the early church, they preached the gospel. You can also support that Christians today still pray together, both private and public, and you support. So that's your yes part. And then for the other side, my dear Lena, the expected responses, remember, again, before you develop an argument, let us see that you are now referring to other people's view. So hence we want to see you acknowledging that now it's other people. Some may argue. That's what we normally use. Some may argue. It's not just however. So you do indicate that it's now other people's view. So some may argue that Christians, you bring back the statement again, that Christians no longer have the characteristics of the early church. And then again, you develop an argument. Why can some argue that Christians today no longer have the characteristics of the early church? Because of several reasons. You can use this point. There is inequality in churches today, and you support. There are class divisions between the rich and the poor. You support that. Christians are no longer devoted to prayer. You can actually cite practical evidence. They are occupied with a lot of things. Some are working. They no longer have time to pray, unlike the early church who devoted themselves in prayer. And then lastly, you can also use the point on preaching. preaching is no longer for soul winning nowadays. Yes, we see some Christians preaching, but they don't do it with the same intention that the early church had. So it's more of a competition for membership. So this is how the response was supposed to look like, my dear Lena, and I do believe that you tackled very well, because a higher level response must have both sides of the argument fully supported. And then we move on to our topic, background of Pentecost. So remember, we said we are focusing on the events of the Pentecost. So now, why Pentecost? What is this Pentecost that we are talking about? So hence we are going to look at the background. Pentecost was one of the 3 major Jewish pilgrim festivals. So there were 3 major Jewish pilgrim festivals, one of them being the Feast of the Unleavened Bread, which is actually the Passover, the Feast of Tabernacles, known as Booths, and then lastly we have Pentecost, which is the Feast of Weeks. So then Pentecost was celebrated 50 days after the Passover, because the word Pentecost is derived from the Greek Pentecoste, originally Penteconta, so it means 50. So it was celebrated 50 days after the Passover. It is also known as the Feast of Weeks, as I've already mentioned. It's one of the 3 main Jewish pilgrim festivals. Feast of Weeks, reason being it was celebrated 7 weeks after the Passover. So hence it's known as the Feast of Weeks. It's a Thanksgiving ceremony. Thanksgiving, let's take note. So the Jews were giving thanks to the Lord for the harvest of the first fruits. So how did they do that? Okay, they celebrated the end of the wheat harvest. So this was just a celebration. They celebrated the end of the wheat harvest, and this was done. How was this done? Jewish pilgrims came to Jerusalem. I've bolded Jerusalem so that you can go back and read about the background, because Jerusalem has a religious significance, my dear Lena. So go and read about Jerusalem. Pilgrims came, they traveled. Remember, a pilgrim is someone who takes a journey for a religious purpose. So they traveled to Jerusalem. And another thing that we have to note is that it was compulsory. It was a must for everyone to attend this festival, either male or female, even visitors or foreigners. So you can tell, my dear Lena, how huge this festival was. So it is for that reason that in the event of the Pentecost, we are going to see so many people gathered. So also people brought gifts as offering to God. Remember, it can't be a Thanksgiving ceremony without gifts and offerings. So they brought gifts as offering to God for the first fruits of their produce to the temple priest, not to just anyone, because it's a religious ceremony. So they brought the gifts to the temple priest. And then lastly, on the background of Pentecost, later on this day, the Jews commemorated the giving of the law. I hope you can recall in the Old Testament we read about the giving of the law to the Jews, and the story is found in Exodus 16. You can read Exodus 16 verse 16 to 19. So basically we are saying the author of Acts here, Dr. Luke, likens the event of the Pentecost with the giving of the law, because the Jews believed that when God gave the law, all people of the world and our people of the earth heard the voice of the Lord. So now, even during the Pentecost, everyone is going to hear the disciples speaking in different languages. Okay, then now the story itself, the Pentecost, or the outpouring of the Holy Spirit. So we have an introduction. Let's just take a brief recap to Acts chapter 1 verse 8, where we talked about the Great Commission, where Jesus actually commanded them not to leave Jerusalem, but to wait for the promise. And then he told them that they shall be his witnesses. So now we're saying this event is a first fulfillment of these promise. He promised them. So now the promise is fulfilled, and we are qualifying it as a first fulfillment because we're going to see more fulfillments in the book of Acts. This is just the first one, but we're still going to see the Holy Spirit, descending upon them and them being used by the Holy Spirit. And then the storyline, which is the account. The story is found in Acts chapter 2, verse 1 to 13. I hope you are going to read it. But as you read the story, my dear Lena, these are points of focus. Make sure that in your account, you tell us where the event took place. Where were the believers? They were together in the upper room. This is very key. Remember, we said when giving an account, pay attention to the WH question. Where were they? Who were they? What happened? How? So that is very major. So remember the religious significance of the upper room. You'll go back again and read about the upper room. It's not the first time we talk about it. A sound came from heaven. Sound came from heaven like a rush of mighty wind. Let's take note of wind because it's symbolic. Later in our lesson, we're going to look at wind as a symbol of the Holy Spirit. And then tongues of fire again. Let's take note of fire. It's a symbol again. Fell on each of the disciples or the believers who were in that room. They spoke in different languages. I hope you are noting that. They spoke in different languages, and this concept is known as glossolalia. This is a Greek word that is taken from, it is a Greek word which means speaking in tongues. So actually it's formed, it's a blended word that is formed from two words, glossa and laleo. Glossa meaning tongue or language, and laleo meaning to speak, to talk, chat, or make a sound. Hence, we refer to it as glossolalia, speaking in different languages or tongues. So this technical term is very important for you, my learner. Don't forget it, glossolalia. Then lastly, the multitude's reaction after this event. They were perplexed, they were astonished. It was a first of its kind, with some even suspecting that the believers were drunk because they had never seen this in their lifetime. So they actually accused the believers of taking too much wine. Then we move to the symbolism. As I've already mentioned, that there are certain symbols that are found in the story. The first one being wind. When we read the Bible, I hope you'll come across the usage of wind. Okay, what does wind symbolize? Going to Genesis 2 verse 7, we actually learn that wind has creative power. What do we mean when we say wind has creative power? The story in Genesis 2 verse 7 is about the creation of man. So God, we're told there that God formed man out of dust from the ground. Then he breathed in his nostrils the breath of life. So wind has creative power. Secondly, wind has the ability to revive or to give life. The story is found in Ezekiel chapter 37 verse 9 to 14. You can read that for reference. It's a familiar story. Prophet Ezekiel prophesying on dry bones. So what happened there? Prophet Ezekiel, the bones were lifeless, but Prophet Ezekiel prophesied, and we are told that the breath was supposed to come from four winds, and Prophet Ezekiel prophesied and the dry bones came to life. So wind has power to give life. And then lastly, wind has power. It actually arms one with power. It makes one fit for a task. Take for instance the apostles here. Before they didn't have power, but after they were filled with the wind, after hearing the sound, like a rush of a mighty wind, they were filled with power and they were fit. They were fit for the task of going and preaching the gospel. Nobody, you have something to say?
Can we take a bit of a break just so that you get some water? We'll be back just after a couple of minutes. Viewers, we'll be right back after this.
Wash your hands. Scrub them while you sing this song. Wash. Put your hands and fingers in the places in between. Using soap and water, make sure that's so clean. Wash your hands. Great job, you're almost done. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Taking care of yourself is also taking care of others. We're all in this together.
Welcome back to our viewers. You are still tuned in to Eswatini TV. Tulsile, I think I'll let you, without wasting any time, let's carry on with your lesson.
Thank you, Nogwazi. Welcome back, my dear learners. Before the break, we're actually discussing the symbolism used in the account of the outpouring of the Holy Spirit. So from wind, we're moving now to fire. So fire is also, we see actually the mentioning of fire as a symbolic feature in the Bible, especially in the Old Testament. Going to the Old Testament in Exodus, we have quite a number of encounters where we see God actually manifesting himself in form of fire. For instance, Exodus chapter 19 verse 18, where we are told that Mount Sinai was wrapped in flames, and the Lord descended on fire. So fire then symbolizes the divine presence of God. We have quite a number of examples, my dear Lena. The most common one being Moses seeing the burning bush. I hope you can recall that even though the bush was in flames, but it was not burned, and God was there. The voice of God was heard speaking. So it symbolizes the divine presence of God. Also, fire has the ability to purify and make one fit for service. It ignites the enthusiasm and the zeal for one to actually do certain things. Take for instance, in the event of the outpouring of the Holy Spirit. Before that, the apostles, the disciples, had never spoken in different languages, glossolalia. But now the fire has made them fit for service. So they are ready to serve by fire, by force. That's what we normally say in everyday language. And it's found in Acts 2 verse 3. And then also in the New Testament, fire symbolizes divine judgment. We are familiar with this. We are going to read 2 Thessalonians 1 verse 8, where we are told that during judgment day, there will be a raging furnace where those who disobeyed God will be punished to eternal death or suffering. And then lastly, for symbolism, my dear Lena, we have speaking in tongues. It's symbolic, even though it's an action, but it's symbolic. So what does speaking in tongues symbolize in this event? It's a symbol of unity and understanding between all races and nations. Please take note of this. These people, they came from different parts of the world, including Jews from diaspora, but the audience heard them, each one of them speaking in their own language. So it is indeed remarkable. I'd like you to take note of this, my dear Lena. The disciples, specifically the apostles, were using the Galilean dialect, the traditional Galilean dialect, which was actually difficult for the non-Galilean crowd to understand. So the Holy Spirit enabling the believers to speak in different languages was indeed remarkable. The sudden ability of the believers to speak in different languages wouldn't go unnoticed by the masses. It was kind of dramatic in a way. So think of an Italian or a French who speaks in Siswati without anyone teaching him or her. It's actually ear-catching. So the masses had the zeal to listen to what these people were saying, because it was clear that it was miraculous indeed. Also taking the story of the Tower of Babel in Genesis 11 verse 1. This story is a reversal of the confusion of tongues at the Tower of Babel. We are going to read the story in Genesis 11 verse 1 to 9, where God dispersed and scattered the people to all parts of the world because they disobeyed him. But here we see a reversal. They are gathered together. God brings them from different parts of the world. They are united, as we've already said, and they understand each other. Hence, the speaking in tongues is symbolic of unity and understanding. And then secondly, it's symbolic of the worldwide work they were to do. Remember, in the Great Commission, they were supposed to preach the gospel to the end of the earth. So now, the fact that they were able to speak in different languages, actually it foreshadowed their flow in spreading the gospel. Remember, they were going to have an international and multilingual audience. So they were not going to face challenges in actually communicating. There will be no barrier in communication. Hence the speaking of different languages. Then, why was the event important, my dear Lena? We move to the significance of Pentecost. But not Pentecost, the festival. Pentecost, the outpouring of the Holy Spirit, which is the event actually. So this event was important because it marked the fulfillment, as we've already said, of Jesus' promise. Which promise was fulfilled? You shall receive power when the Holy Spirit comes upon you, and you shall be my witnesses. So the promise is fulfilled because they've now received power, and it's actually visible. The Pentecost also brought gifts which enabled the apostles to preach the gospel with boldness. Brought gifts, we know that speaking in tongues, as we've seen in the account, is one of the gifts of the Holy Spirit. So we haven't seen the apostles or heard the apostles or the disciples to say speaking in tongues, but during this event they're actually able to speak in tongues. So the gifts are brought by this event. And then lastly, this event marks the birth of the Christian church. Birth, take note of birth. So it marks the birth of the Christian church, drawing us back to the historical purposes of writing the book of Acts. Luke wrote the book of Acts to present an accurate historical background of the history of the church. So now we know how was the church established. We only know through the events of the Pentecost. And then now we move to the second part, my dear Lena, which is the sermon, Peter's first sermon. Remember the last part of the account, we saw the multitudes reacting. The multitudes thought that the believers were drunk. So now Peter comes to their defense, and it's found in chapter 2, verse 14. Actually, the defense or the sermon is found in chapter 2, verse 14 to 36. The reason why my topic is inclusive is because from verse 37 to verse 41 is actually the reaction. So I want you, my dear Lena, to go and read the whole account. So it's divided into 5 parts. It's because it's quite a lengthy sermon. So we have the time of the day. We are going to read in Acts chapter 2, verse 14 to 15, where Peter talks about the time of the day. There was no way that they could be drunk. It was the 3rd hour. And the 3rd hour means it's 9 in the morning. As fellow Jews, they wouldn't break the fast by being drunk. Secondly, Peter talks about the fulfillment of prophecy. In the book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 28, Prophet Joel prophesied that in the last days, I will pour out the Spirit upon all flesh. So Peter is saying this is being fulfilled. Regardless of gender, age, social status, or race, everyone shall receive the Holy Spirit. And also Peter talks about Jesus' death and resurrection in his sermon, and it's found in Acts chapter 2, verse 22 to 24. What does Peter say? Jews with the Roman authorities killed Jesus, unaware that they were actually yielding to God's plan. But God raised him from the dead. That is the resurrection. God raised him from the dead. So death had no lasting grip on Jesus. And then lastly, Peter also says that David foresaw and spoke of the resurrection. So if David, a man they held in high esteem, could speak about the resurrection of Christ, then it means that it was indeed authentic. Because in Psalm chapter 16, verse 9 to 11, David talks about Jesus' body not seeing decay and his soul not abandoned in hate, which then goes to say that Jesus is indeed the Messiah. You have something to say, Novazi?
Yes, I've got something to say. Unfortunately, we have run out of time. I'm hoping that we will continue with your lesson from where you ended the next time. But thank you very, very much for joining us, Tulisile. I'm really sorry. I can tell with your expression that you're not happy with me right now. But we have unfortunately run out of time. We'll see you the next time.
it's okay.
All right.
I'm not happy though.
Okay. All right. Viewers, me and Lerato will be right back after this.
COVID-19 is an infectious disease caused by a new coronavirus introduced to humans for the first time. It is spread from person to person, mainly through the droplets produced when an infected person speaks, coughs, or sneezes. These droplets can land in the mouths or noses of people who are nearby. These droplets are too heavy to travel far in the air. They only travel approximately 1 meter and quickly settle on surfaces. This is the reason person-to-person spread is happening mainly between close contacts. The exact time
What?
It's okay.
Okay. Welcome back, viewer. And unfortunately, we've come to the end of our lessons. And I hope you enjoyed your lessons today.
Yeah, very interesting day it was. Unfortunately, like Lerato has just said, we have run out of time. Just a reminder to our viewers that we are live on Facebook, yes, and on YouTube every day from 2 p.m. until 5 p.m. And if you have any questions, we do have a WhatsApp line that pops up from time and again.
Yes, most importantly, please remember to stay at home and abide to all the laws. Yeah, so basically,
all right. Bye. Stay home, stay safe. Thanks for tuning in from the team and me and Lerato. Bye.
See you guys tomorrow.
You are watching Eswatini TV, Sibuko Semaswati.
Siyabonga kakhulu babukeli emakhaya, siphinde sibonge naNkulunkulu ukuthi aniketele lithuba lokuthi nimbone umnyaka lomusha. Ngiyethemba ukuthi tinqumo tenu nenitithethe senivele ninyathela kito. Ngiyethemba ukuthi bamfana bosisi bomake balungele ukuthi umnyaka lomusha bende timfo letinsha letitawukhona kushintsha timpilo tabo tiphindze tishintshe nebamfula basemaceleni kwabo. Ngithina namuhla ngiyanikhumbuta ukuthi nimcoka kakhulu futhi ninemandla ekwenda noma ngayini lenifuna kuyenda mangabe nitawethemba nje. Njengoba nadi ngihlala yenda ngihlale nginayo iguest ngiphindze ngibe nepanel laba khona kusita ukuthi letimfo lesikhuluma ngato tikhone kufika ngendlela nitawukhona ukuthi nitive ngayo kuze nitawukhona ukuthi nisitakale kuto tonke tingcinamba lenibhekane nato. Ehlelweni namuhla nginaye Phephile i-psychologist yase-psychiatric hospital khona lana kaManzini. Ude namuhla kutawukhuluma ngendzaba lemcoka kakhulu ifiye noma kwesaba labanye bathi luvalo. Phephile, siyabonga kakhulu ukuthi ube sehlelweni i-Feminine Touch.
uzivulele nje umnyaka ngenzaba lemcoka kakhulu lokhanza ukuthi asithanza kuyithinza kanti imcoka bamfu banemaphupho masibabone la ngephandle bamfu bafuna kubangiloko kepha mawuthi uzama kubasita ukuthi bakufeze lokho labanye bese sebeva ngazothi ayi ngasufuna ukuthatha idea yami lo mumfu yini ngazothi unemona kanti yindlela yokuthi sifuna kubasita ukuthi bakhone kufeza emaphupho abo ngicela ukuthi utetfule kubabukeli emakhaya usho ukuthi uchamuka kuphi siyabonga.
Okay. Asibonge Ngcebo, ngibingelele nababukele emakhaya. Ligama lami nje kwasangichaziwe ngiphephile ngokasukati ngisuka lapha esibhedlela sokwelapha nokweluleka ingqondo lesisi khona kuse National Psychiatric Referral Hospital. So ngokomsebenzi ngisebenza khona as a clinical psychologist and sengisebenze khona iminyaka leminingi. So ngasho ngisuka lapho nje ngilapho sisebenza ukuthi nangabe kukhona lokuthite lokukhona lesokufike kwaphazamisa ingqondo yakho noma sekunabo stress noma sekunani siyafika sikwelaphe sikweluleke ukuthi ingqondo yakho ibuyele esimeni.
Kahlehle kulama age groups abo ethu nje thina bamfula abasikade ifiye noma lokwesaba kukhona kubaphi bamfu ikakhulu nje like which age groups are dominated by fear the most?
Okay, when coming to fear kwesaba, we don't have like per se age group lesingasho khona ukuthi dominate abantu labanje, but sinako letimvo when coming to gender kuthi ifear ikakhulu kubantu besifazane lesi singema females males kunalemfo lokuthi abebede le fear kangako because like ngesiswati siyathi ngosukuthi indvodza iyaqina angithi so ifear was saying ukuthi it's a learned behavior info loyifundzako ezisikhathi sihamba so nasikhuluma like age group it cuts across yonke iminyaka lekhona but kuba when coming to gender noma sibuka ukuthi bantu besilisa noma besifazane ikakhulu kulabantu labesifazane lapho sibona khona ukuthi lokwesaba kukhona kakhulu.
Ngabe nhlobo yini yekwesaba lokhanza ukuthi iba khona lenda ukuthi noma ngabe sebangenile kulokulaba kwendako bese sekubangaza ukuthi sebaphinze banyenyele emuva?
Okay, so ngicela nasingabuyela emuva kancane ku definition yethu yena sikhuluma ngefear ukuthi sithe yini ifear sisithe ekuqaleni ifear is an emotional response. It can be something lo witnessile lezi noma isimo lesithite lokho wabhekana naso kulesikhathi lesibili lesikuso manje sicala umnyaka and dineng timvo letendakalako bantu babuyela esikolweni singathi singadirector ngokuthi sikhulumela abantu abesikolo sikhulumele ukuthi bantu babuyela emsebenzini sikhulumele ukuthi bantu they've got new resolutions alomnyaka yabo kunetindlela abafuna kuhamba ngato kulomnyaka nasibuya kubantu abesikolo singacabanga ukuthi sibuke ukuthi ifear lebangaba common labangabhekana nayo ifear ukuthi maybe there was something leyendekile esikolweni maybe they didn't do well abakaphasi eminyakeni lo labasuka kuyo so the fear of failure ukuthi kungenteka baphinze kwenteke ukuthi bangaphasi kahle yabo default kanjalo or maybe kube yifear of ukuthi lesikole le environment lebafundza khona bullying is common kulamalanga like is common kubantu abesikole nangabe lo mfana bekabhulisha esikoleni the fear ukuthi sophinze ngibonane nalabantu labe bangihlukumeda nje lathide so nasesibuye abantu basemsebenzini nakhona ibullying ikhona emsebenzini the fear of going back to the same environment lapho bohlukumedeka kuba khona lokwesaba lokuthi the fear ukuthi udobhekana nesibo longakakhoni maybe kus overcome kulomnyaka lo suka kuso nako lokho kuba common and when coming to ukuthi kuma resolutions leswendako eminyakeni ngenteka siwendile eminyakeni lokuphelile sangaphumeleli so nakhona kuba khona lokwesaba ukuthi what if ngizama futhi ngingaphumeleli so basically ngile fear iphinze ibuye futhi ngaso sonke isikhathi.
Siyabuka ukuthi okay so sichazele ukuthi ifear yini kwesaba kuyini ku common kuphi and tonke letimvo lethu ngidawufuna kubuta nje ukuthi kahlehle sisusa sekwesaba kahlehle ngikuphi la sichamuka khona chamuka kuphi kahlehle kwesaba yini is it genetic is it something lo ithatha nje emoyeni noma is it our thoughts because sesifundzisiwe sisaqhubeka empilweni even research says it ukuthi most of the things we see today, it's because of the things we think about. The more thoughts you think about something, the more you will see them manifest. Noma lolo cabanga kakhulu ngiko lo takubona kufezela empilweni yakho. Tawucela usichazele kabantu lokho.
Okay. When coming to ukuthi sibuka ukuthi ifear yini le lokhoza ifear or timbangela le tikhoza ifear, was saying ukuthi timvo leti kanjena there's no good specific cause.